You go, Kyle.
What's up, guys? This is the Be Different Virtual Hot Seat Mastermind, and kicking this thing off, Dan, how many users did we just hit, or how many members in the group?
So we started this up just, 4 or 5 days ago. We have 6,000 people here ready to learn from 17 of the people that I most admire in the industry. It's going to be it's just going to be an amazing day. But guys, it's not too late. Go bring your friends in. This is an entire event worth of giving, sharing, period. So let people know, pay it forward, get them in the group. So
I love it.
Here we go.
How many members do we have in the group now?
We got 6,000 people that are with us and growing. It's going to be an amazing day. We have Kyle, Mary, and myself. We're here. We're going to be hosting different segments throughout the day. We're going to give you a quick rundown of how this thing is going to go. And we're also going to share each just some very quick thoughts. All right. For me, this thing being different, that's what makes a career one thing versus what most other people will experience. Okay. So there's nothing that's been more valuable to me in the entire course of growing my business from zero to north of $200 million in production year over year than simply finding differentiation. The rule I live by, and I'm going to go through this more in the days to come. We're going to recap tomorrow, but I'll tell you this: stop playing by rules that don't exist. Stop playing by rules that don't exist, that limit most other agents. And you're going to hear a lot of that theme throughout the speakers that we have here. Guys, what does being different mean to you before we give the agenda and we bring on our first speaker?
Go for it, Mary.
Well, for me, it's always been about proximity. Being different has been about being close to people that are in different markets, learning what they're doing. And I'm so stoked for my session because I've got people from both coasts as well as Australia. Talk about doing business differently. We need to take what we can, implement those differentiations into our market and be the leaders, because business is about innovation.
Yeah, the thing for me about being different is you could be that fixed mindset that believes like the world is ending, the market's over, no deals are happening, we're all like, this is a terrible time, we're gonna make no money this year, it's gonna suck. Or you could be like me, I rely on data. I've been looking at so many charts and graphs and studies of what's happening in China right now, and it's insane. There's a new report that just came out yesterday that's talking about what's happening with the sales on the back end of this thing. And there are more sales happening on the back end of this thing than there were coming into this thing. So this is an opportunity to be different than everybody else out there. All these other people are watching the news. They're watching movies like fucking Contagion and Outbreak. Like, are you stupid? Don't watch that shit. That's going to fuck your brain up. Focus on the data. Focus on what's really happening. Look at your MLS. There are plenty of deals happening. There's sellers that are listing homes. There's buyers that are buying homes. Shit's going down. Let's make sure it goes down with us. Don't buy into the media hype that this is a terrible time. So be different, think differently than the average agent. Don't focus on the social media. None of that stuff. It's going to screw you up. Focus on the data. Deals are going down right now.
So guys, some quick housekeeping here really fast before we jump in. First off, we have this because it's 9 hours of nonstop content today. We have it broken into 3 different live streams. They're all here in the Be Different group. And it's called the Be Different Mastermind group. They're all right here. So go up to the top of the page. You might have to hit the announcements link, open up the 4 announcements that are there, and hit the interested button on each of the 3. Each of the 3 will get you a notification as soon as we shift from this feed to the next, which will happen about 3 hours from now. We're going to give you the agenda, what's on the slate quickly, and then we're going to jump straight into we've pivoted. All right. We decided to bring another legendary big time producer who's going to lay it out. He's also one of the smartest people I know. So I'll tease that here really quickly. Kyle is kicking off segment number 1 for the first 3 hours. Who's on the slate for you, bro?
Yeah, so we're kicking it off. Curtis Johnson out of Arizona has a sick deal where he's going to show us how to list homes via video. We got Howard Tager, one of the CEO of Ylopo, one of the sickest lead gen platforms out there in the industry. I got Mark Pattison here from San Diego talking about how to build a team. He's a team that's probably going to pass all 3 of us in the near future. Parker Pemberton out of Minnesota talking about how they convert Zillow leads at 10x. And then Chuck Fazio, guy builds over $1 billion brokerage in Arizona, 900 plus agents. Going to talk about culture, core values. It's going to be sick.
Mary, then it's transitioning over to you. So again, make sure you hit interested on Mary's feed. It's all here in the Be Different Mastermind group. What's it going to look like starting at 12 noon, Mary?
Well, I've got the best team. I'm just going to tell you that. So you better be logging in. I've got the best team. I have got people from both coasts. I've got Tina Call, lady leader out of Raleigh, North Carolina. I loved what she had to say in our prep call, talking about the life event market that is going to be coming our way. Talk about be different. You better be ready for that. David DeVoe, one of the biggest expansion guys I know. Then we've got Glenn Twiddle coming to us out of Australia. I am so stoked for this guy. I have been doing my homework. And then Kenny Fast, Inman Innovator, right here out of Los Angeles, California. That guy, he knows how to be different. And then we've got Jason Ferris up in Fresno. Well, yes, actually. One of the greatest humans I know. Tom Ferry coach, leads an amazing team. And then finishing it up with Brian Danny right here in San Diego, who's going to talk to us about all things related to listings and lead generation. And I know it's just going to be incredible.
Yeah, and he's going to take us through how to use a showing agent to really be able to prop up your sales as an individual agent. So how do you get leverage in your business? It's going to be freaking killer. By the way, I'm sorry, Mary, but I actually have the best team. We're going at 3 o'clock with Anthony Lamacchia. He's going to take us through how to adjust your business with COVID-19, right? So the changes he's making. Jennifer Schiff, she's one of the best operators in our industry, okay? She is going to take us through how to lead a high energy and productive team virtually. So very pertinent to what we have today. Jay Kinder is going to talk about this 5-step process for winning every listing at the right price. By the way, this guy was the #2 Coldwell Banker agent in the world, okay? So he might know a little something about how to take listings, how to get them done at the right price, how to sell them. Tammy Pack at 4:30, how to stop losing deals by avoiding drama. Now, that's always been an issue in our industry. Right now, even more so, okay? People are under a great degree of stress. So Tammy's going to take us through that. And then I'm going to end this thing off with my man, John Cheplack. He has been a huge game changer for my business, for the business of a lot of people, a lot of elite performers I admire throughout the country, people I learn so much from on a regular basis. So he's going to take us through the simplicity of tribal mode, okay, and the time that feels like a survival mode. So how do you go from this survival environment that we're in right now, and what simple things he's watching his clients, who, by the way, are doing 100 million a year, 50 million a year, 200 million. I mean, these are unreal people. So he's going to share with you what they're doing to get back to thriving versus simply surviving. With that, we're gonna throw a curveball out, and we're gonna bring on a guy that Kyle. I'm kind of jealous. I was about to introduce him because he's one of my favorite people in the world. It's also one of the people I've most learned from ever. So I'm going to do a half introduction. Going back years ago, I've learned so much from this guy. He's made a huge impact on my business. So I'm jealous you get to finish off the intro. And Mary and I are going to take a back seat here, and we're going to take our notebook out and get to join everyone else in learning from this guy and everybody else that's coming.
For sure. So I'm stoked to bring this guy on. He has the best background ever. He's like Jim Cramer right now with his background he's about to come out here with. But this dude out of Detroit, Michigan, somebody who, dude, you got a Shark Tank in the middle of your office. Like, this is so sick. This guy's an absolute beast, has built an amazing team. And I've watched him change so many lives there in Detroit, bringing people up from the bottom, from absolutely nowhere and having nothing to, providing them an amazing life for themselves and for their family. So I'm stoked to bring this guy on. Mark Z out of Detroit. You are going to share something with us today, right, Mark? Like, everybody is freaking the fuck out right now, thinking, oh my God, it's 2008 all over again. Like, the world is over. No deals are going to happen. But that's not what's up, bro. So let's talk. Let's shoot real with everybody. Let's tell them what's really going on.
Kyle, thank you for having me. I am more than excited to be here. I've been in the industry 17 years now. So I've been in 2008. I've been through the crisis of 9/11, of when the biggest housing crash that we've ever had. I've been through that. We've actually succeeded, and we succeeded at a high level. If you look at my growth chart between 2007 and 2010, we had some of our biggest growth years ever. So what does that tell you? Don't ever take your pedal off the metal. When Warren Buffett always says, when everybody's going to the left, you got to go to the right. When everybody's buying, you should be selling, and vice versa. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you today why today's economy and the situation we're in today is completely different than 2008. Okay. And I live my life, just like Kyle said, off of facts, because feelings lie, numbers don't. So keep that in mind. All right. Let me bring up my screen right here.
What's going on in the stock market today behind you, dude?
The stock market is down right now. The stock market's down a little over 700 points. I'm a day trader. I've always played the market, but I've never had the time to be a day trader, and I turned into a day trader in the last 10 days. So I'm having fun with that. So far, making more than I'm losing, so I'm doing okay. All right, let's go through and start. Can you see my screen?
Yep, we're dialed in, baby.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So apples and oranges, 2020 versus 2008. And why do I say that? Well, let's start off with, sorry if I'm talking fast, but I have a limited amount of time. So I'm gonna try to get you guys in a lot of information. And I can get you guys these slides afterwards. A lot of the slides are from a buddy of mine, Steve Harney, from Keeping Current Matters, but I'll get you guys the slides. So look why we're completely different sitting today than we were back then. People always say, did we learn from that housing crash? Absolutely, we learned as an economy. Let me show you why. So the 6 years leading up to the housing crash, you can see home appreciation. And home appreciation was a lot bigger, almost like a bubble. The last couple of years before, in 2004 and 2005, homes appreciated at 12% nationally and 11.4%. That's not normal. You can see the last 6 years leading up to right now, much more consistent. Averaging between 4 and 5%. We had 1 year at 6.4%, but between 4 and 5%, very consistent, very steady, right? They say anything that comes too fast could be trouble. So you can see it's very consistent right there, okay? Slide number 1. Fact number 2, months of inventory. 2007, we had 8.2 months of inventory. Today, nationally, we have 3.1 months. That's not a lot of inventory. In my particular market, we're always between 2 and 4% in the last year. So inventory right now is a lot less than it's ever been at 3.1% compared to 07 at 8.2%. As you know, the real estate industry is completely based on supply and demand, right? Look at this, slide number 3, percent of median income needed to purchase a medium price home. Back in 06, you needed 25% of your, people used 25% of their household income to buy a home. Today, it's at 15.4%. People ask why? Well, it's a combination of two things. Number one, people have made more money than homes appreciating the last few years. So therefore, they had a lot more disposable income in order to buy a home, and they used less of their money in order to buy a home. Number two, interest rates are much lower now than they were back in 06, 07. Therefore, you can use a lot less of your money because your payment's going to be a lot less, okay? When interest rates are a lot less, you're going to use less of your money, and therefore, right now, we're using only 15% of our income in order to buy a home compared to 06 when it was 25%. You know what? Let me, I'm not doing this the right way. There we go. How about this? Total home equity cashed out. Check this out. This is huge. So did we learn from back in 07? Absolutely. The 3 years, 2005, 6, and 7, Americans took out $824 billion worth of refinance cash outs. Okay, that's a lot of money. Now, forward the clock to right now, 2017, 18, 19. Look at how much we took out, 71 billion, 87 billion, 74 billion, a total of $232 billion. That's 1/4, 25% of the 3 years leading up to 2007. 25%, we've only taken out $232 billion compared to 824. That means that we have a lot more equity than we did back then. On average right now, the average American has between 50 and 60% equity right now. So that means we have a lot of options. If things got bad, we could pull money out of our house. The average American has 40 to 50% equity right now, completely different than back in 07. Back then, everybody was tapped out, everyone was over leveraged, and there was no money to pull out. So if Americans need to pull money out, they can, they have that ability, okay? Now, so far, that hasn't been an issue because the American government, another huge difference between now and 07 is that the government is putting out a lot of money, a lot of stimulus dollars into the economy to help people. They never did that back in 08. Okay, so they're helping people with rent. They're helping people make mortgage payments. They're coming up with a lot of different factors that they never did back in 07, 08. So people aren't having to dip into their savings. People aren't having to dip into refinancing their houses yet. Okay. Now, when people say recessions, your clients, the American public, automatically thinks recession and home prices sinking. That's not necessarily true. Look at the last 5 recessions that we've had. In 1980, we had a recession. Home prices went up 6.1%. In 1981, home prices went up 3.5%. We had a recession. In 1991, they dipped merely 1.9%. That's nothing. That's on a $300,000 house. That means you lost $5,000 to $6,000 worth of value. In 2001, we had another recession. Home prices went up 6.6% nationally. And then in 2008, you guys know the bubble bursted and we crashed 19.7%. That was an astronomy though. That was not normal. 19.7% one year in 2008. However, 3 out of the 5 years that we've had a recession, home prices have went up. So just because we have a recession does not necessarily mean that home prices are coming down. Clients do not understand this. These are facts. This is not something that I'm thinking. This is not something that I'm feeling. Again, it's based on supply and demand. The economy could have a recession. We could have a recession and home prices could stay steady, could even go up. If there's not enough supply and there's more demand, home prices will not be affected. Now, with that said, as realtors, we have 4 responsibilities, the way I broke it down. Number 1, prospect for new business. Number 2, list properties. Number 3, show homes, write offers, negotiate contracts. And number 4, close homes. Right now, for a lot of the country, items number 2, 3, and 4, your hands are tied. Maybe you can do it, but you're not doing it in the capacity that we were doing it prior to the last 30 days. What does that mean? That means that right now you've never had more time than ever than to prospect for new business. This is what you should be doing right now. This is what my team's doing right now. We're lining up our pipeline. When this is over, you're going to have 2 agents. You're going to have agent A, who's going to have a pipeline, who's going to have people that are going to be ready, willing, and able, looking to buy and sell. And you're going to have the people who are going to be starting from ground zero when that floodgate opens up. Which agent do you want to be? That's up to you. There's going to be plenty of business for everybody. It's just a matter of who are those people going to be doing business with? They're going to be doing business with the people who built relationships right now. Right now is the time where you got to start building relationships. You got to start making phone calls. You got to start figuring out who's going to buy and sell. The way I look at it, there's not going to be any lost business if you plan. You've got a plan right now, and you've got to build a mini team. If you're on a team, you probably have access to showing partners. If you're not on a team, you better start forming some relationships among the realtor community because you're not going to be able to handle the business. We're going to do 9 months worth of work in 6 months. That's what's going to happen. Think about it. You're not losing any business. The market is just paused right now. The people that have to buy and sell, they're still going to have to buy and sell when this is over. In 3 months, when your market opens up, when people are more comfortable, those people are still going to buy and sell. It's not like those plans just vanish. In fact, you might have more people that were planning on buying and selling that have to buy and sell. There's people that are sitting in homes right now that realize that their home is too small. They're sick of their house. There's people that are going to be going through divorces because of this situation that are going to have to sell their house. They're going to be financial means of why people have to sell a home. There's going to be a lot of reasons coming out of this that people are going to have to buy or sell a home. You're not going to be able to handle the business. You're going to need showing partners. You're going to need people who can help you on a Saturday afternoon when you have 7 clients that want to go out and see homes. What are you going to do? Are you going to figure it out then? Right now is the time to plot and plan. The ones who are doing that are the ones that are going to succeed, the ones that are going to be ready. If not, you're going to be way behind. Because I know my team, there's 60 people on my team. We're plotting and planning right now. This is a war right now. And we're getting the army ready. We're plotting and planning for when this thing opens up. The question is, are you going to start on day 0? Because if you do, you're going to be way behind the 8 ball. Look at this. China's housing market. Sales triple after the coronavirus. This is exactly what I was just talking about, right or wrong. When the floodgates open up, all the business that's been paused for the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, however long this lasts, it's gonna open up and you're not gonna be able to handle it. Based on the fact that you built the relationships and built the pipeline and know who's gonna buy or sell during this time. Right now, communication is more important than anything. The people that you haven't been in touch with, you need to call. Right now, you need to call your database. And it's easy conversations. People want to ask, well, what do I say? These are easy conversations. You want to call and check up on people. You want to be human. You're not calling for the business. You're calling to check up on people to see how people are doing. See if you can help in any way. A lot of us are much more fortunate than many others. People have been quarantined. People have been sitting at home. People haven't talked to people. Don't take it for granted. Maybe you have people, maybe you have family that you can talk to. A lot of people haven't talked to anybody in 2 weeks. When that phone rings, they're going to love to hear from you. Not only that, they're going to want to talk about the housing market. Everybody wants to know about their biggest asset and what's going to go on with it and what's going to happen. You got to adapt and get creative. Right now, if you're not adapting, if you're not pivoting, and you got to pivot quick right now. The ones that are pivoting quick are the ones that are going to succeed. Restaurants are bringing out delivery trucks in order to get food out, in order to keep sales up. People are getting creative. My sister's a stylist and she does hair. She can't do hair anymore. So what is she doing? She's mixing up color solutions for clients and they can come pick it up and put the solution on on their own. And she's giving them about 20% off. That's creative. You're gonna have to get creative. You're gonna have to whip out Matterport videos if your market allows you to get people out there. Everything's going virtual right now. Sure, it's different. Sure, it might, I wondered 2 weeks ago, are we doing our sellers justice by putting their home on the market and it's sitting there doing nothing? So we tested a couple. Both houses that we listed in the last week sold multiple offers. One was cash, no inspection. Another one was multiple offers. They're going to do their inspection within the next 7 days, all based on the videos. We had sellers do the videos themselves. We taught the seller how to walk around the house and do a virtual tour. Both homes sold. So now I'm living off facts again. If sellers say, hey, can I list my house? Absolutely. Absolutely, you can list your house and you can sell it. We're getting much more creative. We're getting much more virtual. You have to pivot. You have to pivot quick. Now, 3 to 6 months of reserves. What does that mean? Guys, if this isn't an eye-opener, I don't know what else is. America will never be the same after this. People need to realize you can't be spending as much as you make. I don't care how much you make if you spend as much as you make. This is a time where you got to go through your credit card bills. In fact, every once in a while, probably every 2 years, I call up my credit card bill and I report the card stolen. I don't dispute any charges because they're all legit, but I report the card stolen. So all of my monthly reoccurring payments that I forget about, the $10, $20, $30 ones, sometimes I have three gym memberships going because I forget about one or two. They all get knocked off and nobody can charge my card anymore. This is the time where you need to go through your credit card and you need to cut out all the unnecessary charges. You need to have 3 to 6 months of reserve. If you're a new realtor in the business, you can't come into the business without 3 months of reserve. You'll never survive. Those reserves are like the shot clock in basketball. When that 24 seconds runs out, if your reserves run out and you don't have any more money, you're gonna have to go get a real job. In real life, if you're a business, I can't believe how many business owners don't have 3 months. I have a retail shopping center. I've got many different buckets of incomes for those of you that don't know me, because I never put all my eggs in one basket. I've got a retail shopping center. The hair salon in the shopping center gave me the keys within 5 days of this thing happening. She had no reserves, nothing. How do you operate a business? How do you operate your family? How do you operate your life without reserves? How? Because you spend more than you make. You should be saving at least 30% of your income at a minimum. If you're not, you're falling behind. You got to have reserves. The question is, what can you do with the reserves? Well, if you're a business owner, you need it for times like this. You need cash flow. People go on that show Shark Tank because they need cash. Cash is king. You need cash reserves at all times. You need it for marketing. You need it for to buy investment properties. You need it to diversify your wealth. Right now, you need cash. This is an eye-opener. If you live off the seat of your pants, you're scared right now. You must have different buckets of income. This is also going to be an eye-opener for many people. If you don't have any different buckets of income, you're real scared right now. I've got 10 or 11 different buckets of income. And I just realized I need one more. My next bucket of income is going to have to be something online, I realized during this time, because right now, every bucket of income I have, except for 2 things, got shut off. One is my EXP rev share. Thank God for that. That's going to pay the bills for the next couple months. But I just realized I need an online source of income because the people who are selling things online are booming right now. They're killing it right now because everybody's at home. Everybody's on social media. If you're not on social media, if you're not marketing yourself, you're doing yourself a huge injustice. There's more eyeballs on social media than there's ever been in the last 2-3 weeks. I've seen the media studies. So I just realized I need another bucket of income. That bucket of income has to come from online because if this were to ever happen again, and there's a very good chance it could, who's to say that another virus doesn't come out that we don't have a solution for? This could happen again. But I'm going to be prepared for next time it happens again. My last bucket of income that I'm going to create is something online. Because I realize that, hey, if we're all quarantined, if we're all at home, people can still buy something online. Everything else could get blocked. I never thought that my 250 apartment units that I have, that all of them could stop paying rent. It could happen. So nothing's bulletproof. And that's why you've got to have multiple different buckets of income in order to get through this. All right, guys, that's it from me. What questions do we have?
Kyle, you're muted.
Okay. Kyle, I can hear you now. You were muted.
All right, sorry guys, we got 5 minutes here to hit Mark with some hot seat questions. So let us know, what questions do you guys have for Mark? What do you want to know from him? Post your comments in the question, or post your questions in the comments. Let's see. Yeah, I was muted, whatever. First time, we'll figure this shit out. First guest.
What'd you think, Kyle? Any questions?
I'm letting them in here. Here we go. Here's a question for you. Do you have ISAs to prospect? And I'll follow it too. What are your ISAs prospecting right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've got ISAs and I haven't let any one of them off. They're all still employed. They're all still making calls. Who are they calling? They're calling expired listings. They're calling for sale by owners. They're calling our database. They're calling everybody that they would call as if nothing's ever happened. And what are we doing? We're lining up our pipeline. We're finding out, hey, when this is all over, we feel like the floodgates are going to open. We've got buyers sitting here waiting. Are you looking to sell?
I like it. All right, here's another one. What do you recommend as a business to invest in right now?
Gosh, you can't go wrong. Like I said, an online business right now is just bulletproof. I mean, online businesses were doing great before this happened, but right now with everybody quarantined, everybody home, how can you go wrong with a business where you can sell a product online? Something that's economical, something not too expensive, but you can sell a lot of quantity right now. Anything online, that's where it's all going. We knew that, but right now it's proven it more than ever.
Number one marketing place I should put my dollars? Social media.
No questions about it.
Where specifically on social? Insta, Facebook, LinkedIn? What type of ads?
It depends who your audience is. If you're trying to build your brokerage and recruiting, Instagram. If you're trying to, if you're looking for clients, Facebook, 100%. If you have some extra money, TV right now, TV ratings is higher than it's ever been. Local news is booming right now. Fox and CNN, they're up 150% when I was looking at the numbers. So social media, and number two, if you have money, it's a little bit expensive, but TV right now, there's never been more eyeballs on TV. People that never watch TV, including myself, are watching TV all day long.
Last one, bro. What kind of messages can we send to buyers to make them more interested in buying now?
So listen, I don't believe in selling right now. Right now, we're in a crisis and we're in a pandemic situation. Right now, you want to build relationships because people will buy from people they know, like, and trust. Right now, you want to call people and make sure that people are okay. People will naturally want to buy or bring up the subject to you if they know you're a realtor. Right now, just check on people and build relationships. That's what you should be doing.
I love it, man. Mark Z out of Detroit, starting off with some straight up fire, bro. I appreciate you coming on, man. That was awesome. We will, those of you guys, a lot of people are asking about the slides. We'll get those slides. We'll throw them up here in the group. So we will make that happen for you. So this is going to be fast and furious today, guys. Again, we're going 20 minutes of talk, 10 minutes of questions. We're going to hit the questions that you guys are asking in the group. Wait till we ask for the questions. Otherwise, your questions are getting buried. There's an insane amount of comments on here. So wait till we ask for the questions, and then we'll hit those questions as they come in. So next up, I got my boy Curtis Johnson out of Arizona coming on here. Curtis is somebody that I've looked up to for a long time from afar, and now I'm a business partner with this guy, and I have so much respect for him. He has done something that he's told me about in the past a little bit, but hasn't actually like laid out the exact plan. But Curtis, I know you've got a way that you've been doing this for a long time. Like, this isn't new to you. You've been listing homes without ever even seeing them.
15 years.
Yeah, dude. So I'm excited for you to share this today. Curtis Johnson, Chandler, Arizona. Curtis, break it down for us, man.
All right. Let me know if you can see my screen when that gets on there, and then I'll just start going and blowing through here.
We got you, bro.
Okay. So again, kind of like what Kyle said, I haven't gone through and shared this with a lot of people, but this is really something we've done on my team for 15 years with this. And this is a duplicatable method proven to list over 1,000 homes by video in any market at any price. And I say that because about 15 years ago, I started to go through and do listings by video. And it started when the market was really cranking up. I went through and we had a lot of appointments, but at the same point, I was doing a lot of guaranteed things and stuff that I wasn't sure was done exactly right. And that I wasn't guaranteeing something that really, wasn't accurate. And so I went through and I said, forget it. I'm going to video myself. And my partners, James, stayed up. It was all night. I said, we got a green screen and videoed it and had someone produce it and everything else like that, but really went through and shared really what my listing presentation was. So it started about 15 years ago. And then when the market crashed, it became something, we had to have people come in our office and watch it. And as the evidence come in, it came from something that wasn't going very good, right? And making some adjustments with it. So I've virtually signed listings by video. People have asked, where have you done this at? I've been at Disneyland, got listings signed, and real conferences. Sitting next, I know I was sitting next to Jay Hinder, and a 1.5 million listing came through and signed while I was sitting there talking to him about it. My pool, and also in the hospital. So it can happen from anywhere, and I'll kind of break through and share how this kind of came. Then you're going to want to personalize this, but we live in different times. Mark Z crushed it in that last area, showing why things are different. And like I said, we've taken listings from 150,000 and less to over 1.5 million doing this. Different markets all over here. This is a lot of split tests and millions of mistakes in that. So just a little bit about myself. Over the last 21 years, so 1,000 homes. And over that period of time, over the last 15 years, the majority of our listings we've done by video. I'd say probably 80% of our listings we've signed have come because they've watched a video of me going forward with it. And about 3 or 4 years ago, I went to a webinar process with that. And I'll share just a little bit about that. And again, I don't have all the answers, but this just kind of comes from being stuck in a trying situation, if you will, right? So, I don't know about your life, but does unexpected craziness ever happen? Of course it does. Right now we're in a pandemic. I was in a situation a few times. I've had 4 back surgeries. This is my back in a few areas where all of a sudden, out of the blue, couldn't walk, and everything for the next couple months laid up in bed, and it makes it pretty tricky, right? So there's me hanging out in bed, going, what do you do? And so if your income is based on you always being that hunter, something happens like this pandemic, what are you going to do, right? And so going forward with this, about 15 years ago, what's the genesis? And I'll kind of show what the layout of it is. About 15 years ago, actually about 20 years ago, I read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, the world's #1 small business guru, and got a chance to spend a few days in a room with him, about 4 days. And one of the things he said that just blew my mind, if your business must run without you, or it's not a business, right? It's a job. And going through, I learned that I had a high-paying job, but I had to show up and sell someone a home or I didn't get paid. So systems don't fail. People probably want to write that down inside. Make sure that you understand what is your system. And if it's always about you, as Jay Kinder talks about, out-friending somebody, you're going to have a hard time. And so let me take you from the beginning. How do you get somebody on this? Right now, we do it by webinar. And people say, people won't watch it. They won't go to it. Well, you have to be able to set that up, and you've got to be able to create curiosity, but you've also got to say, why is there a lot better by coming and watching this than what it is without, right? So just a little bit about our just one I grabbed is, you really need to know about our no risk home sale. Now there's a 22% range of value that all homes will sell in. So your home could sell for as much as 11% below to 12% above other options. If I can show you in only 12 minutes exactly how it works, our $10,000 marketing guarantee, our price match plus $1,000 guarantee, our cancellation guarantee, and love it or leave it pressure guarantee, plus show you the 5 things that you have to know in the market to avoid losing thousands and tens of thousands of dollars when you sell. If I could do all that in 12 minutes without having to even meet with me, all from the comfort of your home or office, you'd at least be curious, right? Well, yeah, how does it work? Well, let's jump online right now and see what when Curtis is playing as the next live over. If you're in front of your computer, you've got your smartphone with you right now. So just let me give you the website, type it in, and let's take a look, see when he's doing that next, okay? So again, this is an event we're going to create a splash page. Right now, we're doing this from Webinar Jam, which goes through, and I'll actually show you a little bit. This is kind of what this is. I'm going to show you about a 3-minute clip of what is the intro, and then I'll show you kind of the nuts and bolts on the back end if I can here. Hopefully, you can hear the audio here. If you can't, say something here.
Hey, Curtis Johnson here, and I've got a personal invite for you to join me online during my 12-minute live virtual no-risk home sale listing presentation. Now, you used to have to go to Blockbuster to get a movie. Netflix, kind of that seems silly, right? Now, your time's valuable, and I'll share exactly what you need to know during our 12-minute live virtual no-risk home sale overview. Now, there's absolutely no pressure. You can join me from the comfort of your home or office without your nosy neighbors wondering, what's going on with the stream of realtor interviews day and night, or pressure badgering you at your kitchen. You closing technique they picked up at some class. Now, if you're like the nearly 4,000 local families that my team and I have helped over the years, you want to be heard, understood, and to have your concerns addressed up front, right? Am I close? Now, you want the process to be super simple, transparent, and easy to understand. I got it. Got the message. And that's why I'm making this super duper simple and removing all the risk and frustration that happens when you list and sell your home. Now, my no-risk home sale system is the most powerful market available in Arizona to sell your home. Now, I've been working day and night to find a way to really try and collapse time and deliver our 8-9-step marketing plan in only 12 minutes. So a lot of stuff, right? So I think I got this one. So wish me luck. I'm coming back, and I'm sharing exactly why there's such a huge fluctuation in the possible price your home could sell at, and how we help about a family a day get to the top of the 22% price swing, right? Now, you're going to work for you, right? Or even
okay, so just kind of giving you an idea here on how that goes. It's about 3 minutes right there. And again, one of the things I'll talk about at the end is you've got to do this step by step, right? This isn't about, trying to hit a home run out of the, your first swing. You're trying to go through, the first thing you're doing is you're selling that 3-minute intro. And then what 3-minute intro, that leads to having them for the webinar, and then you're able to send some little video clips and have them consume content. And how I structure the listing presentation, the critical pieces in that. So the first thing to do is refuse being hired to the price. So a lot of people go, well, it's impossible to take a listing over the internet because you don't have the price. Well, most people, we never even talk about the price. And yes, it's a little bit easier because it's a little more monochromatic out here, I guess. But the first thing is to present. Now, this is the plan that's going to get your home sold for the most money, right? We talk about the 22% price swing. And the next thing to go over is the professional. So here's this plan, right? Here's this, what's the fastest car? You talk about car. Now, let me talk about what kind of driver needs to be the driver for that car. Then you talk about, here's the team or professional. And at the end of that, then only after they've chosen the plan and the professional do you talk about the price. So we can go through and say, everybody else is going to talk to you about the price and what they're doing. We're going to first talk about, here's our marketing plan. Here's what we do. Agree with that. What they do is at the end of the webinar, we do about 12 minutes of the web. Then I break it up into Q&A at the end of that. And going through, I'll live type with them, because right now we've just tested so many. The one I just showed you, that I recorded a couple years ago, and it still works, right? You're able to go through and live answer questions, be able to do all those different things with it. And the last thing is, say, if we can agree on the price and terms, is everything else good, right? I go through, one of the things I go through is I talk about what our fees are. And if we go through and we do this, you're going to get a break on what the fees are. So going through that entire process, and one of the biggest things is you can't just tell them, hey, we do videos, we do photography. You've got to be able to show them what the difference is. So we actually show our 3D tours. We actually go through that. And then we also show inside, I show them that they've got 5 choices. They can't control the market, right? They can't control, the pandemic that's going on. You can't choose, what the interest rates are going, but what choices does a seller have? And then obviously we go through this, and the answer obviously bends to make us better. And that is the choice they do make is, do they want their home marketed top dollar, or are they sitting passively on a list? Okay, that's the first thing, because they believe the biggest lie in real estate, they believe, is that their home is going to the same price no matter who they have sell it. And that's the biggest lie in real estate, that we know that a great negotiator, a great person in that is going to make a big difference. So they have to make a choice. Do they want their home marketed for top dollar, or they want to just throw it on a list at the bottom? Okay. The next is the presentation and conversion process of their home versus just hoping and winging it. Is there a system? Obviously, if we go through and show a system, we're able to demonstrate we're the best option. Strong negotiation strategy versus an order taker, right? You show this by your ability in the past to be able to do this. And a complete team versus single agent. Obviously, that bends in our direction because, I've got a big team. And if you're a single agent, then you probably want to structure that a little bit different. And then about the strategic pricing versus guessing and wait, right? In going through, they control that. So that's the last thing. We control the first 4 things. They control the price, and that they're in control of that. So what you need to get clarity on before you build it. Now, again, this video listing presentation is just the same as any other presentation, right? But what you have to do is you have to be so much better on video. You have to go through and you have to have the strongest offers possible, because you're not face-to-face. You're not going to be able to pick up on all of those cues. You have to be able to connect even better than you ever have. So you've got to be able to understand what you solve, okay? And if you don't believe you solve anything and you're going to get the same result as anybody else, then it really doesn't matter. Then all you're doing is then you're a commodity and you need to go to the lowest price. So what do you solve? How do you get different results? And the big thing is how your unique home selling offer, early bonuses, and risk reversal. So I'll go through just a couple of these. Here is first, do they need people that are just testing the market? I'm not interested in them, right? So we use a motivation scale to figure out how motivated are they, right? And then we go through, what are your bold claims? I've got different offers, our guaranteed sale, different things like that. And then what makes you special? You've got to go through and present and show something special in your listing presentation. This is no different. And the biggest right here is steps how you it, okay? How different result, because it's something to go and say, look, we 5,000-6,000 homes. It's a whole nother thing. How to do that, and then what results can they expect, right? Maybe it's list to sale price rate, maybe it stays on the market, what that is. And then you need to walk sellers through your process. You go through and walk them through and show, okay, here's what we do, and this is how we get these results. And then again, what's your specific offer in that? Now, your unique offer, if you don't want, you can go through and research a lot of different ones. We've got like 5 different offers in that. One of those being our communication update guarantee. That's one of the biggest things they don't get. And if we don't ever communicate in a week, we'll give them $100, right? So your unique home offer, it should be unique. You should go through and that so that you create a group of one and it's unique to you, and so that you're going through and presenting that. Be memorable. On video, you have to be memorable. You've got to use big expressions. Got to use graphics. If you notice in mine, I used and I took the text and I put it below. Why? Because a lot of people are going through and it increases retention as they're going through. So be different. Use video. No, Kyle, you crush it on video. But why should you believe inside your webinar, if you will, or inside your video, you've got to use testimonials. It's a big deal because as you're going through, you think about it. Great, and Jolene, they really believed in this, right? Whatever that might be. And then the things that we do a little bit special is urgency and bonuses inside the webinar, inside the video. That's one of the things that we found that super makes a big impact on that. And I'll just tell you, inside ours, our typical listing fee is 6.8%. But if you go through and on our webinar, it's the lowest price I offer it anywhere. Even family friend lower, we don't offer it lower. And I discount that down to 5.9. Why? Because you've got to explain to them why and having them take action right now. So as they go through, say, hey, you know what? If we don't have to come out to your house, if we don't have to do this, doesn't that save you money? Doesn't that save you gas? Doesn't that save you doing all these things? Of course it does. So figure out what your savings is and then offer that to them, right? Incredible bonuses and things like that. Things we made an adjustment a few years ago, and that was, okay, for the first clients that come through, we'll do it at this price. And guess what? We're only doing that many clients, 24 clients a month through our video system, and that's it. So once those slots are full, they're full. And kind of Disney's really taking that to the extreme, saying, hey, this time of the year, it's this price, and this other time it's a different price. In Arizona during the winter, it's not as busy, right? We could actually handle more. We've got the same staff, we've got everything else, so you can actually use this to control your fluctuation. Because guess what? Kind of like what Mark Z talked about earlier is we're on pause. We are gonna come out of this. And you're gonna have the same problems you had before in going through with this, but you can control the flow, and you can control that by your offers and going through. There has to be a time-sensitive reason or a quantity offer, whatever it is, in order to get people to take action, right? So figure out what is your guarantee. You've got to be able to connect even more, but you've got to be able to take away their fear through this. And one of the things I talked about is you've got to gain micro agreements throughout the process, right? And that's one of why we have them go through. They agree to watch the webinar, right? They agree as we go through that process. They're not locked in, right? In that listing presentation, it goes through, and we actually would go one step at a time. After they said yes, spot. That's what we talk about during the webinar. Say, hey, do you want to hold your spot? Do you want to hold your spot? One of these 20. And if they yes, I want to hold spot. Great. They fill out some information, take about 5 minutes, and from there goes over to another one. I used up until recently, we actually had a PDF with the actual listing. They would go through, fill that out, and then we had a one-page rider. And the only thing on that rider, right, that they were changing, that we were looking at was the start date of the listing, the start and end date, and the start date, mostly just the start date, right, and the price. And so we would go with, okay, if the house is within a reasonable range of value, we would take it, right? We would go through, but those are the two things. The agent going out there, or if that client came in, they only had two things. It was a simple one-page thing. Those appointments were super easy. They had already agreed to our fee. They had already seen our value. They'd already gone through all those different things. And as we wrap up here, a lot of, throughout the last 21 years, I've been able to figure out and say, okay, how do agents make it? And then I'm big into leverage, into maximizing your time and energy. And so many people want to go through and maximize things that they haven't actually seen that it works. And so I created a book, an outline, if you will, just in your business in general, how to build those skills, then how to maximize it. And then I believe this is in the scale part, right? And then you get to have that love it life that I talk about. So Dan asked us to give away something with this. If you go to my website, I put this up here. You can get a free copy of my blueprint. It's about 140 pages, I think. If you go to realestateagentfreedomblueprint.com, put that in there. I won't spam you, whatever else, but it'll send you a copy if you want a copy of that. But that's kind of our process in a nutshell. Don't think that this is something that crazy. This is about just taking the process pad, presenting it in the most efficient way, and then give why should I do business with you now as opposed to something else. And the way that I framed it, and I believed 3 years ago that the majority of people would be taking lists by video. I just thought, I didn't think it would take it to happen. To me, it just made more sense because people want to buy online. They want to do this. they don't enjoy having 2-3 hour listing presentations all week long going through that. And so this is a way that I put together that say, you know what, if you're thinking of interviewing 4 agents, watch this. It takes about 12 minutes, and then there's some Q&A. Essentially, I covered all in about 12 minutes. They can go through and watch that and see if it's something that makes that we can compete for their business. So that's what I got. And Kyle, if you got any questions or anything, I'll see if I can try and fire away.
All right, guys. So the way this works now, you guys have, dude, you hit it exactly 20 minutes. I'm impressed, bro. Spot on.
Yeah.
56 slides, 20 minutes. You crushed it, dude. A lot of amazing feedback in the comments. So now it is hot seat time. You guys have the next 10 minutes to ask your questions. Throw them in the comments below. The best questions are going to be the ones that we ask. No questions are off limits. So hit us with those questions, guys. All right, here you go. With all the crazy, and I know that you don't like these bad words, Curtis, but with all the crazy shit going on, are you guys lowering commissions at all?
We haven't yet. Again, from our webinar, that the best pricing possible on the webinar. So that's what we do, and we haven't yet. As this goes on, if I've got a lot of staff that we need, and we need business to be able to handle it, we might look at that. But again, I'm pretty optimistic about what's going to happen. So I don't anticipate that happening.
Okay. What specifically have you tweaked since COVID to your video strategy? Anything?
I actually haven't changed anything with it so far. Just try to put a little bit more energy to trying to make sure the agents on my team are driving people to it. We still probably do 50 to 60% of our listings taken are still done through video. Right? Online with that, and 85% of all our sellers watch a video before we sign them up to that. Almost 90% are by video.
All right. How are you inspecting the home to ensure you price it properly?
We use what we call a maximum home value audit, and that's just, again, online. They go through, they hold their spot, they say our home's about blank amount. We can do our research on our side and that, hey, is this going to be pretty close, or is this not? And then we set up an appointment there. Do we choose the time? Do they want to come into the office? Right now, it's obviously going out to their house. But a lot of times they would come in, we'd sign that 1-page addendum, and then we'd say, great, we're going to come out and do photos in 2 days or whatever it is. And while we're there, we're going to do a maximum value audit, measure the rooms, look at it. And there's something glaring like, man, this is a dumpster fire. This is not even close. Then you have to have an adult conversation with them. But going through, and again, we got a pretty good idea once we've gone through the house if we have to have a tough conversation right then. But guess what? We all do that, right? It's no different.
All right. This one I think is very specific to the time right now. How are you handling fears of homeowners not allowing showings?
You just got to understand it's an understandable fear. With that, I don't think you're going to be able to overcome all those, to be honest with you. Yesterday, there's still agents on my team. We had a couple escrows in the last few days. They're out showing houses. My son does our 3D tours and went and filmed one yesterday. I gave him some gloves and actually gave him a mask because he's got allergies. And I'm like, this is not for you to get it. I said, I don't want you or anything else like that. And bring some Clorox wipes, right? And try and make sure that either the people are not there or you're distancing and stuff like that. So I think we just got to be about it. And again, some people are not going to feel comfortable with that, and that's totally understandable. We just gotta, hey, that's the rules of the game, right?
Cool. What's the best USP that's actually giving results? Like the #1 call to action USP that's really hit for you?
For us, it's about a curiosity factor. And again, like I said, the biggest lie in real estate is that a home is going to sell at the same price no matter who markets or sells it. And that's what everybody wants to be out there and says, hey, the only difference is, we charge this amount or what have you. I think that's a lie. I think it's doing our industry a disservice. We know that even if we got it sold at the same price, we know that chance of getting it all the way through inspections and continuing on are going to be different based on the quality of agent, quality of team that helps them. So inside of ours, it's what we call our 20% price swing. And that's from doing a lot of research and kind of a morphed version of what Jay Kinder, Mike Reese, we came across 12, 13 years ago. And that was this price swing. Homes don't sell at one price, that based on how you handle up to 168 different variables, the price of your home is going to be adjusted. Are you going to put a lockbox on? Are you going to put a sign up? What kind of sign? Is it reflective? Are you going to market on social media? Are you going to do 3D tours? All those things impact what the price is. And we also know, they've talked to different agents and they suck and they won't let us in the house or whatever it is. That's going to hurt the price. So once we start telling the public that there isn't a price for your home, there's a range of value, and that our help get you to the top of we call the 22% price swing, that gets people curious because everybody else is telling them, yeah, I don't know, we can sell your house at 3%, 6%, whatever. And that's the wrong discussion, in my opinion.
All right. Here's a good one. What are the most common objections you get to setting up your 12-minute appointment, and how do you handle those objections?
The biggest problem is, saying, yeah, I'll get to it. Give me the web address. I'll get to it later. And people do that, right? We know that, we do that all the time. So the biggest objection is saying, hey, great, you got your phone in your hand. You're on the phone with them right there. Pull up this website right now. And, we change the website, have them go there and just opt in and hold your spot for the upcoming webinar. Just put on there, be able to chance to go back and watch yesterday's, the last week's one. They could watch the replay of it. But really the biggest thing is just, and yes, send it to me and I'll get to it. We know apathy, especially right now, even people could be sitting at their computer all day, they still won't take action. So it's about, job is to sell the opt-in. Opt-in sells the webinar. The webinar sells what we do and says, hey, hold your spot here, even if you're not ready to sell for a certain period of time. You can't just go and hit the home run. You've got to break it up into little pieces and then start just, one of the biggest things, just film yourself. Film yourself 3 or 4 times giving presentation and start seeing what things sound great, what things sound like garbage, right?
All right, dude. Last question, and we're going to wrap up here. What's your target audience for the online presentations? And then it just kind of ties in. Somebody else was asking, how do you, get your message in front of that target audience?
We've done a really, really good job with people that have heard about us, have been some type of affiliation. They've seen our marketing, everything else like that. Done really good. Say, hey, this is what we do. And you've got to lead them. This is our system. In order for us to be able to get you top dollar home, you need to go here and do a little bit of research on your side and see if we're even a good fit. But it's about ownership, right? Most people haven't sold a house in years anyways. You say, this is what we're doing. We're the ones that are freaked out about it, right? So our ideal audience is anybody that's thinking of selling. We've done a really good job on people that have a world. Cold traffic, getting them to buy in is the hardest piece, right? That's the real estate nirvana. And I'm sure Howard Tager is probably going to talk a little bit about, moving people from cold prospects throughout that process, but that's always the whole game.
Are you running social ads to try to drive people? Are you running pay-per-click? What do you?
Haven't really, just people that have come to us and that, then retargeting with those people or whatever. But we haven't, a while back, I tried to go after cold. I didn't do a very good job with it, but I haven't run after cold traffic this approach yet. All
right. Good stuff, man. Curtis, I really appreciate you coming on. Again, Curtis Johnson out of Arizona, guys. This guy's a legend. You've done this how long now, bro?
21 years.
21 years, been at the top of his game for a long time. One of the things that he mentioned in there is that he doesn't even necessarily have to run the ads, right? Like, a lot of people don't understand this message that everybody's like, well, just do a good job with the clients you have and you'll get more clients. People don't understand that. They're so focused on the next client, they forget about the client that they're already working with. If you have one client and that's all you have, it's really easy for you to treat them like they're your only client. But then you're going to start to scale up and you're going to have more and more clients. But the number one thing I think that I've learned from you, Curtis, is treat every client like they're your only client. And what ends up happening is you don't have to go spend tens of thousands of dollars with, some of the online portals and pay-per-click and social media and all of that stuff. Just make sure you treat every client like they're your only client, and your business is going to be a 20+ year business like Curtis Johnson. So, bro, thanks for coming on. Man. Thanks for sharing.
Great line. I'm stoked to watch everybody.
All right, bro. Thank you. All right, guys. Next up, we're going to keep it going. We're staying on track. I'm shocked. We're an hour in. We're still on track. It's mind-blowing. 30-minute slots, and we have so many amazing people. There's 17 people that we're going to talk to today. Again, if you're just tuning in, welcome to the Be Different Virtual Hot Seat Mastermind. The way this works, our speakers are on for 20 minutes. They're going to deliver as much value as they can in that 20 minutes. At the end of the 20 minutes, you guys are going to have 10 minutes to grill them with questions. That's the goal of this event. We don't just want people talking, running away, talking, running away. We want to let you ask them questions. So wait till we get to that point when we ask for the questions, and we're going to hit as many questions as we can within that 10 minutes. So I'm going to bring our next guest on. This guy is an absolute legend when it comes to real estate lead generation. I first learned of you many years ago with a company called Tiger Lead, which was one of the OGs when it came to the real estate lead generation space. And you had a very successful exit from that company. And I'm sure I've seen some of the cool stuff you've got going on in your life, man. I know there's a house that might be a lake behind it that we might need to go wakeboarding behind someday.
We're doing it.
But now you've founded a company in Wailopo, which we are a user of. It's an insane company. Like, I get on the phone with Howard and his partner G, and like, however smart I think I am when it comes to digital marketing, I get off the phone and I feel like the dumbest person in the world. Like, these guys are next level with what they're doing with their company, the way that they think, the way that they build. And Howard, I'm excited for you to share today here on the Be Different Mastermind some of the stuff that you guys are doing, and really talking about a database. This is something that people don't understand, the value of the database that they hold in their hands and what you can do with that database. Because a lot of times when you go to sell a company, the database in our business is often the most valuable asset that we have. And so I want to make sure everybody learns today what they've got in the palm of their hands, why their database is so important, and really what they can do with that database. So it's all you, man.
Kyle, I appreciate, you and Dan and the team having me on. It really was an honor to get the call, to be invited. Mark Z, Curtis, following those guys. Mark Z is a current client. I've worked with Curtis for many years. Both these guys are rock stars, dude. Really impressive. So what's my goal today? I have an audacious task. Okay, I'm getting through 40 slides in 20 minutes, or you're yanking me, dude. So I am going to talk really fast, right? How do you get through 40 slides in 20 minutes? You talk twice as fast, all right? So the point of today, why are you going to watch Howard Tager speak? The point of today is because I want you guys to build an asset. I want you to build terminal value in your business that lives beyond you. Okay. In the early days of Wailopo, like, if I got hit by a bus, Wailopo was crushed, right? If G got hit by a bus, Wailopo was crushed. Now, a bunch of years later, we've built a village. We've built, rock star executive team. If I get hit by a bus, G gets hit by a bus, we're going to keep rocking and rolling. We've built a brand. It's not called the Howard Tager Tech Company, right? It's called Wailopo. It's all Wailopo everywhere, Wailopo there, Wailopo here, Wailopo there. It's all about that brand. That brand lives beyond me, right? I get sick, I can't work, whatever. Wailopo is going to be a cash producing machine. Same thing with my real estate investments. Way back in the last, recession, 2009, I got crushed like everyone else. I wrote a small check, $16,667. And originally the minimum investment to invest in this apartment complex was 50 grand. And I was like, I'm not gonna like 50 grand. That's huge. So I got a couple of buddies together, Kyle, and we basically each wrote a check for 16,667. That was 50 grand, 2009. We've grown that. We kept putting money in, don't take money out. We've grown our apartment investments to over 10 million, which produces $1 million of cash. Again, shit hits the fan. We got $1 million in cash. That's what's going to produce. It's going to live beyond us. What can you guys do as agents, small teams, large teams, independent brokers? What do you have? And today I want to talk about your database. Your database, if you own your database, keep control of your database, and you grow your database over time, it becomes a cash producing machine at incredible numbers. No one's lectured about this. Dude, I just wrote this press literally just a couple of months ago. Hardly anyone's seen it. I'm super pumped about it. So let's get through it. So a database is forever is what I titled it. A database is forever, how to build a long-term money-making machine. Why did I title it A Database is Forever? Because the number one ad slogan of the last 100 years by far is by De Beers, a diamond is forever. Literally, this ad slogan itself became a forever income producing machine. Prior to World War II, only literally sub 10% of all engagements involved diamonds, involved diamond rings. It was something for the aristocrats. It wasn't something for everything, right? For everybody. So they invented this phrase, a diamond is forever. And they did it for two reasons. First off, they wanted everybody to buy a diamond. Secondly, they didn't want anyone to ever sell a diamond. So they said it's forever, right? And then they did things like how you calculate how much you spend on a diamond. They've done ingenious stuff, but they created for De Beers a forever income producing machine that lives beyond. Okay. So are you building a long-term money-making machine? That's the question. It's time to double the value of your business, triple, quadruple the value of your business. Think about this, plan out. If you want to slow down, if eventually you want to stop doing the day-to-day, if you want to get out of production, what do you need to do? We know why a lot of folks go to EXP. They're building another income stream, revenue stream. It's great. But here's another way to do it. You have a database. You can have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, and it's going to produce cash and income forever. So build a larger database of relationships. I hate the word leads. We produce well over 1 million social media leads a year. We're about to release Google Pay-Per-Click 2.0. We'll produce 1 million Google leads a year. I hate the word leads because it dehumanizes what it is. It's not an inanimate object. It's a person who has a story, who has a family, who has a history, right? So I call them relationships versus leads. Create a never-ending pipeline of transactions. And here's the money shot. I'm going to show the money shot like 3 times in this prez. I'm going to sneak peek it right now. The money shot is look at what happens when your database is 5,000, 25,000, 50,000, 100,000. Okay, cut to the chase. We'll go through the details later. Your annual gross commission income, right? And this is like after expenses, it's all calculated in here. Your profit on after all your expenses goes from 114,000 a year to 573 to over 1 million to over $2 million based on the size of your database at very, very low conversion rates. It's crazy. Okay, take a look at my largest client in the world, Robert Slack, out of the entire state of Florida. He currently spends 6 figures a month on lead gen, right? His current database is way over 700,000 leads. It's probably more than that now. Every time I check with him, it grows, okay? 2017, over 1,000 homes sold, 240 million in 2017. In 2018, 2,527 homes sold. In 2019, almost 4,000 homes sold, almost $1 billion. And this year he was planning on, and he still made, right? Go over $1 billion, right? So his goal was 5,000 homes sold in 2020. Comfortable goal, 1.3 billion. It was before the current crisis, but knowing Robert, they're going to figure it out. The quote that I wrote down that I loved, he said, Howard, my goal is to build our database to 2 million leads, and I'll never have to buy another lead again. So he'll take his 6-figure, a month budget and go to 0 based upon the math. And I didn't really even understand this math until I built the spreadsheet, and I was like, wow, my mind was blown. Okay, so how much does, Robert Slack spending 6 figures a month, crushing it, going to do did almost $1 billion last year, going to do over $1 billion this year. But how much does the average realtor spend? 66% of all agents spend less than 10K a year. Only 7% spend more than 40K a year. This 7%, these are the folks who are building long-term income producing machines. Everyone else is chasing commission checks in their 70s, in their 80s, and it's not what you want to do. Zillow, okay, spending $500 million a year on marketing. Multiply Zillow by RDC, Redfin, HomeLight, Open Door, all these big guys. Now we may see some big guys wash out now. You're going to see other big guys come in. How do you compete with these guys who are spending billions of dollars on marketing? So the lead generation, lead nurture philosophy that you need to beat the big companies looks like this. You need to fish upstream. That's it. If you're going to wait for these fish to get all the way downstream, that's it. You are at the mercy and the control of the giant portals. And you do not want to be controlled by them because they will change the rules on you. Okay, we don't change the rules. This is my second company in the space. Been doing it for 12 years. I've never once raised prices. I've never once dropped lead volume in half, whatever. You can build a completely predictable business model when you partner with someone like a White Lopo. There's a lot of other great companies out there. It's not a White Lopo pitch fest. This is all about, I don't care who you work with. Don't work with us. Work with anyone else. Build that database, okay? But you got to fish upstream. You got to get to the relationships before they're all the way downstream in the shark feeding frenzy of the portals, okay? This is really, really critical for you guys to note down. Why are we doing this? We fish upstream, right? And we get a relationship going with people who are just in the aspiring stage. They might be 12 months out. We're building our database of relationships, okay? Develop the relationship. They're aspiring. You have a light touch, right? And Curtis can tell you about that. Mark can tell you about that. Let them search. Let them look. We now have nurture technology that we didn't have back in the old 2007 Tiger Lead days. So we can keep them in your fishbowl. This is we can actually give you an advantage over the big portals. They don't have this tech. we can keep them in your fishbowl as they move from aspirers to researchers. How do we know they go from aspirers to researchers? Their home search activity keeps increasing. They start doing elevated things like saving a particular home to their favorites, sending homes to their significant others, looking at a particular home more than 3 times. There's all kinds of actions, right? We create priority alerts when they elevate their search. So we know they go from aspiring to researching. And then they keep moving along to the ready to transact stage. In the ready to transact stage, they are literally raising their hand. They want to talk to you. They want to get more information on particular properties. They want to actually go see homes, okay? So we have the tech nowadays. It is important. It is critical. No matter who you work with, it's all about, do you have the best home search experience? Because if you don't, you can't keep them in your fishbowl. Number one, you can't attract them because they're not going to really like the experience. And number two, you can't keep them coming back to you, to your site. This is all about putting your brand on your home search experience. It's not the Whilopo brand. It's not the Zillow brand, Realtor.com. It's about your brand, right? They're coming back and searching on your site. It's got to be great. It's got to be state of the art. That's why we never, ever stop. That's a project that never stops for us. The improvement of the home search experience. It all is based on that. And guys, I can't spend too much time on this. I got 20 minutes today, but this is a complicated slide, but it shows you we get them in the fishbowl. They're doing light search. They're aspiring. And then we're doing listing alerts, dynamic listing alerts. We're following them around as they search. Then we're doubling down on the listing alerts by basically showing the listing alerts in their social media. The average consumer's on Facebook 13 times a day. So now we're getting them the listing alerts, and we call it dynamic remarketing. We're showing them the right home at the right time to the right person, okay? Keep them coming back. Keep them coming back to your home search, right? Now they do elevated search, all those actions I talked about, and we start tapping you on the shoulder. Here's a priority alert. This is a priority lead. Focus on these people, not on everybody, okay? We now have Raya. Real Estate AI is your assistant. We didn't have this stuff back in 2007. We literally a digital chatbot, super inexpensive. You don't have to hire like a $4,000 a month ISA. They will start texting back and forth with the consumer. You as a realtor could be sitting there with your coffee, watching a half an hour conversation go on between your digital chatbot and the consumer, warming them up for you. And then we get them to the final ready to transact stage. That's when you guys come in. Technology is not there to replace you. Technology is there for you to save time, to save money. It's for you to leverage. At the end of the day, you need to start speaking to them. We get you up to the water, but then you got to start drinking. So again, aspiring stage, researching stage, ready to transact stage. Now we have the tools to bring them back, to nurture them, to communicate with them on your behalf, to get them to the point for you to talk to them. So what does a great client do? They get everything into this engine, right? Their social media leads, even portal leads, we can get them in there. Google pay-per-click leads, referrals, cocktail parties, people that visit your branded site. I mean, signs, right? There's so many different ways, okay? Look at an example. I love these guys, Mike and Long out of Minnesota, the Realty Group in Minnesota. Look at how they get everything into the Whilopo engine. I mean, look at this. I can't even, begin to explain every single method. They get our leads, all other lead sources, offline leads into the Whilopo engine. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Here's the proof, right? They get about 350 to 400 new leads a month. Total conversations, 118. Total appointments, 35. Total closings in this particular month, October, was 14. Total agents working the system was 10. And then total closings they did for the year, just on Whilopo, was 160. And that does not include other lead sources that they were nurturing in the Whilopo engine. Again, I'm not pushing Whilopo. What I'm pushing is, guys, build a database, get badass home search, and make sure you're doing dynamic remarketing, that you have AI. It doesn't have to be through us. There's a lot of great companies out there. So what to do if you already have a solid database? I can't tell you how many times I talk to someone, I'm like, how big is your database? They're like, oh, it's like, I don't know, 20,000 leads or 40,000 leads. I'm like, those are all old leads. Then I take a gun and I shoot myself. Those are old leads. Those are the best leads. Okay, guys, in normal times, when a person goes 4, 5, 6 years, guess what? They're ready to move again, okay? The older the relationship, the better, okay? So you take that database, right? Revisit your database. And what you need to do is add remarketing. Dynamic remarketing changes the game, okay? Listing alerts plus dynamic remarketing will double, triple the number of leads that you can nurture and bring back to your database. Actual case study, okay? We had a client, we do this all the time. They were not doing the dynamic remarketing. They didn't have Raya. They had almost 50,000 leads, and they were getting basically a 4.8% return to their site, okay? 2,300 leads coming back, all right? After we added the dynamic remarketing and the AI, that 50,000 database, the website visits went up like 4 times, like almost 400%, right? And then the priority alerts went nuts. Now they're getting almost as many priority alerts as they were getting website visits. It's crazy. This is actual numbers, okay? We do this all the time. So what's the importance of building up a database? Let's say, for example, 25,000 leads, okay? 25,000 leads, for sure you're going to get 20% coming back to visit your site. For sure, 18% of the 20% are going to get priority alerts. They're doing elevated stuff. They're moving from aspiring to researching to ready to transact. 45 people you will work with eventually as buyer or seller, and you will basically do about 7.5 deals in that particular month, every 30 days. That's the math. So again, take a look at that 25,000 lead example. You're talking about almost $600,000 a year just coming from your database. We're not talking about spending money at this point on new leads. Just once you've achieved that 25,000 database, you can do no new lead gen, right? You're going to make almost $600,000 a year. So this is really important. Not all leads are created equal. Write that down. Not all leads are created equal. What's the length of time needed to build a 25,000 lead database via 100% paid lead acquisition? 100%, right? If you're spending on social, they're farther upstream, right? You're fishing way upstream. They're social because you're getting in front of them. They're not searching to you. You're getting in front of them. But the trade-off is low cost leads, right? Let's say we take $6, $6, right? Okay, you're going to be able to get to that 25,000 leads in basically just 5 years. Again, we only got 20 minutes. I can't go through the whole column, but trust me, you're going to get to that 25,000 in 5 years. On Google pay-per-click, double the cost, all right? It's still really cheap compared to the portals, and you're going to get there in about 10 years. If you're 100% paid, you'd get to that 25,000 leads in about 10 years, okay? Those leads will be a little bit farther downstream because they have search intent. So for those folks who've got to make hay right away, don't have patience, you want to look at Google pay-per-click, right? I think the best thing is a blend. Dominate, strangle your local market with social media and with Google pay-per-click. That way you eat today and you eat tomorrow. Portal leads, I was generous saying they're only $75. Okay, it's going to take you 62.5 years to build that 25,000 lead database. Okay, that's a major problem. So how do you build up a massive number of free organic leads? So that's just paid, but you can do sphere imports. You can leverage third-party data sources like Cole Realty. You have your open house apps where you can get leads in. You can use your main website as a lead collection point, mass import from other databases you have, auto import from your other lead sources. So they're coming into your nurture machine every day, sign calls, referrals, offline events. Dude, guys, the list goes on and on. So now let's say we have a mix of not just you buying leads, paid leads, also all these free organic leads. All right. Now, basically, you can double. You can go in the 5-year period, you can go to a 50,000 lead database, not 25,000. You guys need to set a goal, make a plan, right? Write that plan out, put it on your board every day, achieve that plan every day, every week, every month. Build the 50,000 lead database between free organic and paid. Get there in 5 years. Now, look, when you get there in 5 years, 50,000 leads, you're talking about 1.2 million, okay, in annual profit. And that's not you. Like, that's your team. Like that's your team. Like, we have to talk about all that kind of stuff. Like, it's complicated. It's hard work, right? But that's the machine you can build that lives beyond just you. So what's the multiplication effect of your database? The obvious power of the multiplication effect is that most people buy an investment property or a second home, or I say many people, not most, many. Most people buy multiple homes over their lifetime. That's proven stat. And every single person has friends and family. So your database of 50,000 leads in reality touches hundreds of thousands of people. This is the multiplication effect. What's the value of a real relationship, of a real lead? So what's it going to take? These are the key elements to success for this multi-year strategy. Okay, investment of dollars, investment of time, great home search, solid open API. There's always new tech coming out, AI, all this stuff. You got to have an open two-way API. Don't be in an all-in-one system. That's like 10 years ago. I did that with Tiger Leads. Okay, dynamic remarketing is critical. AI-assisted communication, critical now. The priority alert system, so you can triage, who do I talk to today? It's overwhelming. I can't talk to everybody. Talk to those folks who are elevated and they are priority. They are telling you, we want to talk to somebody. Great, highly trained agents, okay? Hire slowly, fire fast, right? You got to get great trained agents, ISAs, all of that's a whole nother webinar. Superior systems and processes, measurement, accountability, visibility. That's a whole nother prez I love to give. Become a maverick, MAV. measurement, accountability, visibility. You've got to have the proper mindset. If you have the proper mindset, your team has the proper mindset. Nothing worth having was ever achieved without effort. Quote from Teddy Roosevelt, one of my favorite presidents. Guy was amazing. Nothing worth having was ever achieved without effort. That's a lot of effort, okay? It's not easy. But the reward is spectacular, guys. You have created long-term enterprise value. Boom. 40 slides, 20 minutes. I'm out.
Nailed it. All right, take a breath, bro. That was sick. Everybody is loving the energy right now, dude. You straight up brought the fire on that. That was sick. Like, honestly, I can't wait to go rewatch it. For those of you guys that are watching, these are all recorded. You'll be able to watch them here in Facebook Live. Well,
Kyle, that's a 1 hour prez I did in 20 minutes.
I know the energy was bananas.
A lot of espresso,
again and again. So we will cut all these videos up. We will make them available to you. Our goal is to get this group to 10,000. So we will have the Facebook Live videos in here. You guys can watch them. And then our videographers are going to cut all this stuff up into smaller bite-sized pieces into 30-minute sections. Once we hit 10,000 members here in the group, we'll release those to everybody. So as you're watching this, shoot a text out to your friends, DM them, let them know to join the group, BeDifferentConference.com. We'd love to have everybody join up with us. Let's share this message. Let's share this crazy content with everybody. We want to help as many people as we can. People's mindsets need quality content. They need motivation right now. That's our goal with this event, is to give you as much of that as we possibly can. So now it's up to you guys. It's up to you to grill Howard with questions. We've got 9 more minutes left. Hit them with the questions. Throw them in the comments below. We will pop these questions up as they come in.
Kyle, what about you? You have a question?
This one was good. Did you breathe? All right. Here's a question for you. So I've got a pretty robust Facebook ad team that's generating leads. They're rolling in my CRM. How can I lose YLOBO in conjunction with my Facebook campaign?
Yeah, awesome. So that's great. Anybody that comes to me with a CRM that they love, okay, Kyle, like at Tiger Lead back in the day, 12 years ago, we were the founders of the all-in-one, right? We were a CRM, we did the marketing, all that. Now we flipped it. YLOBO, by the way, is the last 5 letters of the word monopoly, the ultimate game of real estate, turned on its head. Because we're not an all-in-one, we're a one-to-all. So when someone comes to us, we've got a great system, we got leads coming in, we got a CRM, we love it. Because now what we're going to do is put it on the nurture system. We're going to do the dynamic remarketing. Facebook's done 3 case studies on us. We have it next level dialed in, and we're going to attach Raya, the real estate AI. There's a lot of AI in this industry, Kyle. You know that, but there's no companies that have built their own AI, right? As well as we have all the data. We have all the IDX data. We have all the consumer search behavior. Take the data that's always changing, dynamic data from the consumer, the dynamic data that's always changing from your MLS feed, and add real AI to that. Now you have the perfect storm. So it's not just like a generic, hey, how can we help you, AI? It's like, I know you were looking at 124 Main Street. I have 3 more homes. I'd like to send you those listings right now. Here's the link. Boom. And that was not you. That was digital AI. So that's the answer.
All right. I love it. I love it. Here's a good one for you. What kind of coffee are you drinking?
Okay, so that's a great question. All right, my go-to everyday brand, believe it or not, Pete's Major Dickinson's blend, but I have a particular way I make it. Big French press. I put in a lot of it. Okay, I got an instant hot. I stir it, man. It's like espresso. I let it sit, then I press it, and it's like I'm drinking espresso all day. I do have like an obscure brand, totally organic in Costa Rica. I hike up this mountain to the very top, small family I know, and they are one of the few organic producers left of coffee, and I'll bring a lot of that stuff back for me. I have a house in Costa Rica. So, but my go-to is Pete's.
All right. How long do you see the social media lead nurture sequence? Because we talked about those are the cheapest leads, and it's the quick way to get to 50, but the sequence is a lot longer.
Yeah, I think you've got to think about the social media leads as long-term nurture, 6 to 12 months, and sometimes beyond. I love it when a client tells me, Howard, we had somebody came on, 3 years ago. We just did a $750,000 deal. That's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. Like, we never let them out of the fishbowl. But I think you have to think about social media leads, a 6 to 12 month nurture, but you're going to build a massive database. Here's the thing. If you have the right mindset of investing in your business, I have that mindset. Invest in my apartments, invest in YLOBO. Okay, right? I wrote the first $500,000 check to invest in Ylopo. Total risk, right? If you have the mindset of investing in your business, guess what? Every 6 months now, Kyle, those original leads that were 6 months ago, they start peeling off. And now, once you've gotten past that 6 month mark, boom, every month people are jumping off the fence. Sprinkle in some Google pay-per-click leads, which could be more like, 3 to 6 months, right? Boom.
All right, dude. A lot of agents have little to no budget, especially the newer agents. Where do they start?
Okay, that's a great question, right? So look, I think we've got to change our mindset, right? Do you want to be a small agent for a long time? The rock stars in this show, Mark Z and Curtis, these guys, they never had the mindset of like, I'm going to be like small. Invest in your business. I don't care if you go to your rich uncle, right? Think about it. How much would it take for you, Kyle, if you wanted to start a restaurant, a badass restaurant, or a bar in San Diego? How much would that cost between the lease, the build out, the equipment, the marketing? How much would that cost?
It's $500,000 minimum.
What's that?
$500,000
minimum, baby, minimum, right? I've done it before. It's minimum, okay? Take $24,000. That sounds enormous, right? Go find your rich uncle. Take $12,000, whatever the number is, and say, I'm investing this in my business, right? And that's what you need to do. And it will pay off because those commissions, you're going to roll it back in, just like my rent checks. I never spent it. I rolled it back in to buy more apartments.
All right. Are you guys in Canada? Apparently.
We're all North America, U.S. and Canada. Yep.
All right, cool. A couple people asked about what type of leads. You guys just do buyers? You also do sellers? What all do you guys do?
Yeah, so we do buyer leads. We do seller leads. This is a really important point, no matter what system you use. Again, it's not supposed to be a Ylopo infomercial, but whatever you use, okay? If you've got great buyer lead generation, always, as you're developing that relationship, at some point ask, by the way, will you have to sell before you buy? Of the buyer leads we produce, in certain markets, 50 to 60% of them have a home that they have to sell. It is the world's greatest seller lead. I'll tell you why. Because you're at the very beginning. They haven't even contemplated who's going to list my home. They're out searching, what can I get? That's the first part. You've got the first conversation for the seller lead. This is what kills me, Kyle. You have the first seller lead conversation. Having said that, we have pure seller lead nurture. We use home valuation stuff. We have the only industry integration with HomeBot. Okay, and that will keep them coming back through the HomeBot integration with Ylopo. So we have seller lead nurture as well. Social media leads, we're about to release Google Pay-Per-Click 2.0, which takes Google to the next level. The whole industry has been doing Google the same way for the last 10 years. G, he's a madman, dude. He just brought it to the next level. It's going to be nuts.
All right, here's a good one. We've been talking about this in one of our Facebook groups that we're a part of. This is a good advice for you guys. There's some crazy amounts of money being given out right now with this stimulus package that was just passed. The one, if you don't have a payroll like I do or like Howard does, if you're just a solo agent, there's an SBA loan. It's called an EIDL. I don't remember what the hell it stands for, but it's an EIDL.
Disaster relief loan.
Yeah, there's some acronym, right? This program out there, if you guys don't have money or if you're just struggling to get bills paid and stuff, you can go out there to the SBA. You can request a loan. They'll grant you 10 G's up front. And they can give you hundreds of thousands, if not millions, depending on your business and the impact of coronavirus on it. But they can actually give you money to help get you through this time period. Well, one of those things you might want to do, and one of the things that I know that we're doing, and if you watch the first section with Mark, is doubling down right now. Like the amount of eyeballs watching TV, the amount of eyeballs on social media right now, the amount of eyeballs just on computers in general is on a whole nother level. So maybe you can go get that SBA loan, that EIDL loan, get that money, use that, invest that in your business. Those loans are payable over 30 years. Some of the money can even be forgiven depending on what you spend it on. Like this could be something that's a really good opportunity for you.
Kyle, my badass clients have actually doubled, tripled down because leads have never been less expensive because everybody's got to like fleeing. And there's never been more attention. We have all the metrics. There's never been more attention. Everybody's home. They're all online. It's crazy. The one thing I say, the one mantra for everybody, Kyle, in these times, because that whole prez was like, not like this is for when we get out of it. The thing to write down is cultivate today, conquer tomorrow. Your discussions, and people have talked about it with your consumers now, needs to be one of caring. Like, can you do something for them? Can you help them? Do not try to sell to them, okay? If they want to talk about an immediate real estate need, they know you're a real estate agent. They'll talk to you about it. But cultivate the relationship today, Don't worry about conquering today. Conquer tomorrow.
Great stuff, dude. So if you guys are watching this, Howard reached out to me last night, said he wanted to do something special for us. So if you guys are watching this, they're doing something to kind of help agents get up and running, right? Everybody's kind of doing their part, giving back, paying it forward. They're doing the same thing. So if you guys are watching this, hop on their site, whilopo.com. Hop on there. They're doing something where they will waive the startup fee. There's an opportunity for that, correct?
Yeah. So we're basically, we've always had pretty, big startup fee because we do a lot of stuff, a lot of programming stuff on your site. The first time ever, only during the crisis, basically, we will basically get you rolling without the startup fee. It's $500 down, but as soon as you're rolling, we immediately get it back to you, right? So as soon as you go live, you've paid no startup fee. The other thing we have is we have this amazing book of scripts and processes and strategies, and we're going to make that free to everyone. So it's got nothing to do with Whilopo, and you don't have to join Whilopo. We're going to make that's like a $250 kind of book that our Barry Jenkins, our realtor in residence, wrote, and that's going to be made free to everyone in your community, Kyle.
Beautiful, man. Thank you, Howard. Appreciate you joining us today. You brought the fire, and you delivered in 20 minutes. Like, we are still on track. 10:30. Love you, bro.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor and a privilege.
All right, guys, time to move on to our next speaker. This dude is somebody that I remember meeting him a couple years ago at a Tom Ferry event, and it was a elite, which is kind of his middle level of coaching. And this guy came running up to me afterwards, like, dude, I just signed up for team coaching. I was like, do you have a team? Nope, but I'm going to build a team. And here he is, I think it's been like 3 years since that. And he has built one of the most badass teams in all of San Diego now, to the point where, bro, this might be the year you pass us. Like, you're going to pass Dan and Mary and I. Like, you are coming with this energy, this fire, this different way of thinking that you've been in the game for a long time. We don't think the way that you think. So I'm excited to have you on, dude, to bring the energy that you bring and to kind of give people a little bit of information on how you've built the team that you have. Because I think everybody is interested in building a team. And if you guys watched the first segment, Mark talked about, you're going to need a team to be able to handle the business that there's going to be on the backside of this thing. So Mark, Pattison, San Diego, Porchlight, I'm excited for you to share with us today, bro.
Yes, thank you for having me. I remember meeting you for the first time as well, being at Tom Ferry. I thought that was pretty fun. But yeah, I have 35 closing in April, best month ever.
That is freaking amazing, dude.
Which seems absolutely crazy. So yes, been doing a team for a little bit. Can I share my screen right now?
Yep.
How do I do this?
Cody is our producer in the background today. He is running the slides for us. So thank you, Cody. Mark, take it away, man. You got 20 minutes.
All right. Sounds good. So yes, like Kyle said, started my team a couple years ago and just have learned so much just through, events like this, guys. So if you are finding stuff that you need to do, I've got a little note sheet. This is my advice. There's a must do thing right here. So Mark Z earlier, Curtis, Howard, you guys are freaking crazy. So I just took so many notes of what I need to implement. So thanks so much for sharing. So if I say anything that you guys think like maybe one or two things that you need to do, go back home and implement them. Or actually you should, we're all at home, aren't we? So be at home, implement them before this all gets done. So I'm going to start you off. What's not working for me? So all these teams and everything that we do, we act like everything's so sweet and always great. Guys, building a team is hard. Get ready for it. If you think being a solo agent is hard, try teaching 20, 25, 30, however many people you end up having on your team to start out. It's not always easy. So what's not working for me? I don't cry even at funerals. I don't know, something's wrong with me. And I had this huge breakdown at Starbucks, dropped to my knees, just was like sobbing on the ground out in front of Starbucks when I first started my team. And that's seriously what it put me through. I was just like constant go, go, go. And I finally broke down. At one time, I had pretty strict regulations of what I wanted for someone on my team. And I fired 15 agents all within a week, just saying like, get out, you're done, can't do it anymore. So that didn't work for me. Wasn't the best decision to do that. Wanted to quit real estate numerous times. Actually, this shirt, which is my team shirt, I started a t-shirt company after I was an agent because I wanted to quit real estate and make t-shirts for a living. So I think that's kind of funny. Don't quit real estate, keep going. I changed my mind a lot. I would bounce around, not sure what I wanted to do, not sure how I wanted my team structured. And I was not tracking. So in realtor.com, Zillow, all that good stuff, it's important where you track and see where your leads are coming from and what your ROI is. I know so many teams out there that are like, oh, I sold 400 houses. I'm like, great, what'd you net? Because really, there's solo agents out there that are netting more than team leaders that are selling 400 houses. So really track and measure everything. When I first started out, I didn't know how to track and measure everything. I was trying to figure this out on my own. What I found out was my CRM and my leads were not syncing. So 1/3 of my Zillow leads for some reason and realtor.com leads were not going into my CRM. So cost per lead, as we all know, crazy high. This was just insane. So I lost thousands of dollars doing through that. Another thing is I wasn't tracking enough. So KPIs, key performance indicators, you want to know what your agent should be doing, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Make sure you're tracking those things. Don't over track. I think that sometimes we fall victim to just like doing way too much tracking, but really focus on what really matters. So tracking is definitely important. Hire people to save them. So I would always hire people just based off the fact that I like them. Really put them through a genuine interview, even if they're a referral. That was my biggest thing. Someone would refer me, hey, they should join your team. I'm like, oh, okay, sounds good. Bad mistake. So another one is I needed bigger and better agents to surround myself with. Always surround yourself with better people. So that's another thing. Guys, this is how I started real estate. I had a moped. I freaking had an air mattress, no SOI. I'm not from San Diego. I moved here 6 years ago. So I started in real estate 5 years ago. No SOI, had a freaking moped. So if I could do this crap, you guys can easily do it. I no longer have that moped because I went out to the bars one time and I lost it. And then my parents kept bitching at me how I owe them for the moped. So I wrote them a check. I said, never bring up that damn moped again. But definitely, if you can sell houses on moped, you can freaking sell houses. So I would park around the corner and then go on a listing appointment, by the way. My team today, 18 agents. They're freaking badasses. I love these guys. They are so diverse and dynamic. And the reason why they're diverse and dynamic is because that's part of my core values. I wanted to include a group that reflected the culture and the society of San Diego. So all walks of life on my team. I absolutely love them to death. We are truly a family. So collaborative family environment, text thread. What this is knowing your team's vision. So if you're building a team, you really should know, hey, how many deals do you want to sell this year? Track and measure all that good stuff. Like I talked about KPIs. We have a whiteboard in our office that has sales from 2019, what we did, what our 2020 goals are. And then on the right column is what our 2020 actuals. So what we do is we put actuals. If we're above our goal, we put them in green. If we're below our goal, we put them in red. So we know at all times when you walk into our office, the first thing you see is our track and measure of our goals. Right now, this month, we're going to close 36 deals in April. Mind you, when coronavirus started, I freaking thought, I was like, oh shit, I'm going to default on my house, foreclosure, all this crap. I was getting really nervous. And then as I progressed and surrounded myself with better agents, they all said, Mark, you're going to be fine. Mind you, I've only been in real estate during the good times, so I had no idea what that meant. So everything turned out fine, guys, and we're kicking ass. So if you're feeling down about coronavirus, get over it. It's going to be fine. You're going to sell a shit ton of houses. All right. So huddle, we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 a.m. Big wins. And we go over a little topic. So we'll be like, hey, always make sure it is something of value. If your team isn't logging on or coming into your meetings, it's because you're not valuable information. You're not teaching them anything. So today we went over appraisals. We went over what's it like if your client is in escrow and credit score had to go up because the new regulations that a lot of banks are implying. So make sure that you're on top of that kind of stuff and teach your team those things. Now back to basics team meeting. We do 2 different meetings a week. Usually with coronavirus, we only have 1 meeting right now. We do it on Zoom, but we do a back to basics meeting that everyone's invited to and an advanced team meeting that everyone's invited to. So you're basically going to be focusing so that if you have experienced agents, they're not coming to a buyer consultation huddle. But if you have, you know what I mean? So you're not making people go to meetings. One, I don't require anything. But the other thing is I make sure that my agents, when they are there, they're engaged. They're not on their phones. They love this stuff because they can interact and tell their stories and share what's working for them. So really focus on that good stuff. What's working for me, for my team? This right here is freaking amazing. It's called my 100-point day. So what it is it gamifies your day. Each agent at their choice can fill this out. Each thing that they do is worth different point values. So we have a huddle in the morning. It's worth 5 points. So if you jump on that huddle, give yourself some points. In the top right-hand corner, you can see there's a year goal, your year to date, your pending, and your difference to see what you're on track for. One thing I think it's important, especially nowadays, because we're all stuck inside all day, is your gratitude list and your affirmations and what you're grateful for, all that good stuff, because you need to keep a positive mindset. Other things on the left-hand side are all different point values. Change it to however you want this, guys. And if you have a team or if you're a solo agent, this will work for you. You can use it as a solo agent if you're home alone and you're like, I'm not really sure what to do today. There's freaking 50 things on this list that you can do. So give yourself a point for everything you do and make sure you hit a minimum of 100 points. You should truly hit 100 minimum points of prospecting, which is at the very bottom. All those little boxes at the bottom are calls, texts, and emails. Now, if you email 100 clients on a mass email saying, hey, hope you're doing well with everything that's going on, and that's your prospecting, good luck. You're never going to sell a freaking house. You may sell one every so often. But if you pick up the phone and have good conversations, and in the bottom right-hand corner underneath affirmations, it says new conversations, nurtures, SOI chats, and appointments. Right now, it's a little bit harder to set appointments when it's just meeting for coffee. But you know what? You could set a Zoom appointment and have a coffee date or a cocktail drink about the buying process with someone who is 6 months out. What else are you going to do right now? So really focus on that stuff. I truly think that this 100-point day is something that you can use to track your actual production or your motivation and everything that you're doing right now, and also people on your team. My teammates do this, and at the end of the day, they text me a picture of it. I'll check in with new agents and say, hey, how come you're not doing your 100-point days? Like, what changed? So really checking in with your team so that you don't have to babysit them all day long. You just say, hey, here's the 100-point checklist. Go do that. Another thing that's really working for me, accountability, dependability, all that stuff. So accountability and support-wise, I don't want to explain the same thing over and over and over to someone. So if someone asks me a question about an RPA, I take my phone out, I'll record the answer, and then I'll upload it to our onboarding, which you can do on Wix, you can do on YouTube and make them private, and you can link them all back to different things. So if someone has a question on how to write an offer, they just go to that section of your training, watch your video, and then they don't have to ask you any questions. Mind you, they still might have questions, but at least make them watch the video first. So you're not telling them, hey, this is where the deposit line goes. This is where you go for the other thing. So make sure you go through all that, because if you're recording yourself, then you don't have to keep repeating yourself over and over again. Another thing that we do for accountability and support is we actually, every team meeting, I do something. If I'm talking about 1031s or Prop 60, Prop 90, Mello-Roos, or different taxes that are in your area, or just how to do anything, I'll go and I'll test my agents on it. So I'll do a little pop quiz and I'll make our agents take a test. That makes sure they're paying attention, and also it really tells them how to like recite that information. Because if you just listen all day long and you're not really, you know, and if you know you're gonna have a test, like remember back in school, you're like, shit, I better pay attention because they're gonna test me on this. That's exactly how it is. So we test our agents on that stuff just because I want to make sure they can regurgitate that when it comes time to talk about 1031 to a seller. So all that stuff is so important. We also test on houses. So if you walk into a home and you say, hey, this is the type of water heater and it doesn't have an expansion tank, or does it have this, or does it have a TP valve? My agents know all of that stuff because I think it's important selling homes. They're not the inspector and they're not liable for this stuff, but they should at least be able to look at a water heater and tell you if it's in decent shape or not. So that is the other stuff. Another thing is culture. Talked about it already. My team is like a family. So these guys here are freaking amazing. This is my team. This is on the bottom left is when we sold 100 houses. We hit that goal. Oh wait, no, that was 100 million. So we sold 110 million, or sorry, 100 and something million last year. I don't know, 224 deals. And attraction. Where do I get these agents from? So I get them from really like social media and my brokerage, people that are just looking to join a team. That's really where I get everyone from. And I've never actively sought out and like recruited. So different people will be coming to you for different reasons. And I think it's important that even though if someone's referred to you or if you attract someone, that you still put them through the interview process, make them share a video of them on screen, make sure that they're going through whatever you want for a teammate, make sure they match that. I have my agents take the DISC profile. I take that with a grain of salt because not every single person is gonna match your DISC profile exactly. If you don't know what DISC profile is, Google it, and it's just a test. It's important that you take it. It's important that you know what DISC profile is, not only for yourself, your agents, but also for clients. If you have someone that's a certain profile characteristic, you can speak to them differently. So, and there's certain ones that make great agents. There's certain DISC profile assets that make great admin people. So really focus on that. This is another thing, like doing something like this mastermind here, sharing with you guys gives attraction. It really provides for referrals. It provides for agents that potentially could join your team. It provides for training for your team. So any chance you get to speak in front of a group, do it. mind you, after freaking Howard and Curtis and Mark Z, I was like, shit, I got to bring some good stuff. So I was nervous to speak to you guys, but this kind of thing is what's going to put me out and above. Like, I speak at tons of different events all around the country, not because I love it, but because I really want to give back, and it will give back to me in the fact of attraction of agents and training, like I talked about. Here are the systems and software that I use. I use FirePoint and Ylopo. Howard, we're talking about Ylopo. It's so freaking, I'm not smart at all. Ylopo is so insane and intense. When he was talking about it, I'm like, I need to get back in and really learn how to use a little bit more. So FirePoint's our back end. It's what we see. Ylopo is what our clients see. Ylopo also has an AI that goes after clients. We had one client, the first week we got Ylopo, it went after a $1.6 million buyer, set an appointment, and we put that buyer into escrow on that home. Sold that house, by the way. So paid for itself times 10. It's insane. FirePoint's my CRM. Sisu is what I use to track. Like I talked about earlier, KPIs and understanding measurements and everything that we're doing. Sisu allows us to track that stuff, and it allows us to go by agent, by area, all that good stuff. Bookkeeper for my monthly P&L. It's important that you review your finances every single week. Like I said, so many teams are not profitable. Stop spending money and going after all these big ticket items when you can't get an ROI out of it. And if you're not getting an ROI out of it, cut it, like get rid of it. So that's super important. Now, that was kind of quick. I think I have still got 4 minutes left, but I want to say is like other things that you could do for your team would be, you know, getting on those team meetings and making sure that you have those value props, like for every single team meeting. I have an agenda that I keep in my Google Drive. So Google Drive is one of my best friends. I keep an ongoing agenda in there. Anytime I get a call from one of my agents that says, hey, Mark, I got this appraisal that came in low, or I got this, I will then teach that agent. I'll record it so then I have it for my training database. And then I'll go into my Google Drive and add that to the agenda for the meeting. And then I'll have my team members share their story, and then we'll talk about the solution. Because if that person's dealing with that problem, someone else on your team will be dealing with that problem in a little bit later. All my team meetings on time, start right on time, end right on time, go, 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 lots of information. Anyone who comes to my team meetings, which is what I usually do for the first agent, if an agent wants to join our team, I'll have them come to our team meeting, kind of get an idea of how they're going to play into the role of the team and if they're mesh well. And they're like, holy crap, your team meetings are so much value. I learned more in this meeting than I did over, a year working at the other brokerage. And I think it's truly important that those people in the team meetings, you're providing value all the time. And sometimes you're like, man, I run out of information. Save your old agendas and just go back in and redo it. Like, just go over that same topic. There's only probably 15 topics you need to talk about in real estate. Prospecting, scripting, your CRM, how to use it, best uses, all that good stuff. You can't keep going creating new stuff. So don't think you have to reinvent the wheel. Have guest speakers. So like have Kyle come share on your call. Have myself. I'll gladly lead someone's team meeting. So if you guys ever want someone on there, let me know. But that's what keeps my team just freaking crushing it. And I can't believe, because I was a little nervous, but we're gonna close 36 this month. And the most we had ever done was 31 in 1 month. So if you have any fears about what's going on, guys, I have no hesitation that it's going to really we're going to keep crushing it. So that's kind of all I got right now, but I'm going to stop sharing here. If I can find my keypad, this doesn't let me stop sharing. So I don't know, Kyle, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you covered, dude. You're all good. We got
to stop sharing, but I can't because my mouse is disappeared.
They can't see it. You're good, dude.
All right.
All right, man.
So, you, but what's the question? What's going on? I finished pretty quickly.
You're good. You're 2 minutes early. We'll take 2 minutes early.
Perfect.
17 people today, back to back, guys. So the way this works, Mark just delivered 18 minutes of value. That means we've got 12 minutes left for you guys to grill him with questions. That is where the hot seat comes from. So this is your opportunity to hit him with questions, to follow up on things that he mentioned, or just any questions you have about his business and how he's growing his team. So first one I want to hit you with, when it comes to lead gen, what are expectations for your team members? And if the rest of you have questions, put them in the comments below. These next 12 minutes depend on you and your questions.
Yeah, so expectations for team members is huge. I don't have a lead gen requirement. I do have a requirement for however many deals you're supposed to do in a year. So if you're going to be on my team, you better sell 12 deals a year, period. I would say the average agent on my team this year will sell 24. So it's a competitive environment. They're all friendly, but if someone gets a new escrow, like you'll hear a couple agents on the team, where'd you get that lead? Where's it from? So it's just the environment that I've created, and it's a fun, competitive environment. So there's really no expectations from me for my lead gen.
Okay. For the lead gen that you are doing, what's been working the best for you? Because I know you've tried some stuff that hasn't worked and you've shifted. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So tracking and measuring, making sure that you know what works. For example, I had Zillow. I looked at it and I said, well, my ROI on realtor.com is so much higher. So I took all my Zillow spend and really lowered it almost to basically zero. And I've shifted all that money to realtor.com. That's been where most of my money has been for a while, where I've been spending money. Another one really that's important is creating relationships. I did 33 deals last year from just agent to agent referral. So making sure that you're focusing on that. And if you're a solo agent to agent referral is so huge, especially if you're in a coaching network or with your brokerage, whether you're KW, EXP, Berkshire, all that good stuff. You can really focus on, any kind of that lead gen, I think is important. Go for the free ones first.
Okay. Here's a good one. I love this because majority of the people, we're up to almost 800 people watching this live right now, which is awesome. And we've been holding that strong. Again, if you guys are watching, you want your friends to join in, just text them a link so you don't have to leave this. Just hit them up, bedifferentconference.com, and they can join us. This question is a great one, being that the majority of people listening right now are solo agents. So after you decided to build a team, what did you do first? And seems like you need a lot of leads before we build a team. So 2 parts to that.
Yeah. So first thing I did was I feel like you should be a good agent in your area before you build a team. I think a lot of people don't want to sell homes, so they start a team and then they realize that doesn't necessarily work. So sell homes, start a team, get your first thing. My first hire was an admin that was also a transaction coordinator, 2-in-1, because I didn't want to spend too much money. And I just felt that if I was going to be paying a transaction coordinator $450 to do my file, I could maybe have my admin do a month for me. So that was my first hire. And leads are easy to get, guys. You can run Facebook ads. You can run, and if you have a brand new agent, you don't want them calling your Zillow and realtor.com leads anyways. So you don't have to spend money or a ton of money on these leads. Like Howard was saying with YLOPO, you can do these pay-per-click leads or these YLOPO leads, these through Facebook, and they're $6 a lead, and they are great for your agents to call and to nurture. So you don't have to have a ton. When you're brand new on my team, what you do is you get access to my pond, which is basically all the leads that the agents didn't get on the first round. They didn't get in touch with them, or the person wasn't wanting to buy them. They throw them into a pond, and that's what my agents go through. And yeah, there are a lot of leads in there, but there's so many lead sources that you can find that you can get 100 leads for pretty cheap.
All right. What were your first 2 hires?
First one, well, so here's the thing, guys. I have 1 transaction coordinator. Actually 2 now. That's it. So I don't have hires. I don't have an admin staff. I need to be able to afford my bills for my house and my cars and stuff. So I have no expenses. So my first hire was the admin TC.
All right. And then how did you learn to scale? And
watching guys like Kyle and Dan. You find someone. So I went to a conference and I heard this girl speaking, Treasure Davis, and I was like, I want to be like her. So I just asked her questions. Guys, these people in these groups are more than happy to share with you. Like I said, I would share on someone's team meeting if they wanted. I've shared my plan with so many people. And what I did was people taught me to do something and I did it. So many people won't do what you tell them. So don't ask me how to run your team unless you're really going to freaking run your team. Don't waste my time. But if you're going to, I'm more than happy. I'll even fly out to wherever you are. You can pay for the flight. But I'll go out there. Once coronavirus is done, I'm ready to get the heck out of San Diego.
Right. All right. How long do you let agents go forward on the team when they're not hitting anywhere close to their 100 points?
So if I'm asking them like, hey, where's your 100 points? Where's your 100 points? If they're not putting in the effort, they're not going to be selling houses. I don't think besides that one time I fired 15 agents, I don't think I've ever had to actually fire an agent. They usually just quit. So you bother them enough for their 100 points, or to say like, hey, you're not putting in effort. You're not putting in effort. Call them out on the huddle, whatever you need to do. I don't know. They just seem to kind of disappear. Right now, my team has been the same. We haven't lost anyone in probably a year.
Okay, good. That ties into the next one. More on mindset. When you decided to start your team, what was your number one mindset hack to fuel you toward action?
So I've honestly been a pretty positive person already. I never had to really focus on mindset. I only had that one breakdown outside of Starbucks. An old man like picked me up and hugged me and put his head on my shoulder, or my head on his shoulder. And he was like, "You'll be okay, son." So besides that, guys, like being positive and being that team, like I feel like I'm a natural leader, and you have to be a leader, especially like right now. Freaking life throws you some curveballs and you've got to be on top of it. I do 10 affirmations, like what I want to attract into my life and what I'm grateful for every single day. And I think that's something that truly does work. It's kind of corny, but I've been doing that forever. So if you're not writing down what you're grateful for, if you're in a slump, like we have freaking cars that have AC. People don't have cars sometimes. Like you got to be grateful for what you have because there's always more. Like you could have a jet. I don't have a jet. I don't give a shit. But you got to be grateful for what you got.
Good. All right. What additional steps have you taken with your team to keep the business running and keep them safe during this pandemic?
Oh, I mean, everything, guys. So any of our listings, we're doing 3D walkthroughs. So go through that first. I have the client go and look at the house, look at the neighborhood, look at the outside before we even schedule. And then at the actual showing, we'll have the listing agent have the seller turn all the lights on if I'm representing a buyer. Have them turn all the lights on. So when you walk through the home, the agent can walk through the house and then the clients can walk through the house. And then if they have something, they can just decide over FaceTime. But there's really no need for interaction. I think it's important if the client sees the home and also the agent, but you don't have to interact in person. You can always do the FaceTime or the phone call afterwards.
Yeah. And if you guys are in California, I don't know if you know this, but they just released new documents yesterday. Like now every listing you have, the seller and you have to sign a disclosure, and every single agent and buyer who tours the home has to sign a disclosure. So make sure you're staying up to date with what your state has going on, because these things are changing every single day, and make sure you're covering your ass. Like the last thing you want to do is go tour a home and God forbid somebody gets sick, right? Like we need to cover our ass. So make sure you're staying up to speed with what your state has going on, and your association of realtors, like their job is to protect us. So if you're not checking their sites on a daily basis right now, like you could miss some things that are really, really important. All right, Mark, how many deals should you do before you hire an assistant?
I would say every market's different, but 24. 24 is pretty damn good in San Diego. I truly think every market's different, because if you're doing in Colorado Springs and you can do 40, I mean, in San Diego, if you got 24-hour clients, like you're kicking butt, because if you can keep in touch with all 24, you're getting poached left and right. So that's where I started.
You mentioned the cars. People want to know, what do you got?
Oh, I'm trying to get the new Porsche electric one, the Taycan. I think that's how you say it. Yeah. I have a Range Rover.
All right. What was your biggest failure? I know you shared one at the beginning. What's another big failure you've had?
Guys, you're going to fail a ton in real estate. And it's hard for me to remember my failures because I'm honestly the king of pivot. Like when coronavirus hit, I was like, oh shit. And then I was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. Like I'm really excited for disruptors. So failures to me are honestly just like, I don't really remember them as failures. I feel like I just constantly move forward.
All right.
But hiring the wrong people, that's hiring people to say like, don't hire the wrong people. That's probably the biggest one I've ever regretted, but I didn't know until I knew.
What do you think? What's like the biggest tip you can give somebody how to avoid hiring the wrong person?
Friggin' check references. Like don't hire them on the spot. Like make them go through a proper interview. You know, sometimes you get so excited someone wants to join your team and you're like, oh, okay, like, yay, come join me. In reality, it's you got to really go through and follow your steps for everything. Like I've got a great hiring process. Follow it. Don't let your emotions. And if you're really bad at hiring, don't interview. Have your lender interview them, or have your title and escrow interview them for you.
Good stuff, man. All right, we're gonna bring it home. One last question: do you have an ISA, and why?
Because they cost money. No. I don't
money.
know. I tried the ISA route. It didn't work for me. I don't know. So we tried that route, and the person wanted to become an agent. So we just never kept going that. And I feel like my agents are so good with conversion, and they know the area so well that we just have the agents call.
Beautiful, dude. I love it. Well, Mark Pattison, you brought some insane knowledge. A bunch of people want that 100-point checklist. Guys, we are going to get you all the slides, everything on here. We're going to have the recordings and stuff up. So you'll be able to come watch these over and over and over again. We will cut these up into pieces. We'll release them. We need to get to 10,000 members in the group. So we're leaving it up to you guys. Share it. BeDifferentConference.com. you're obviously here watching the live, shoot your friends a text message, shoot them an email, shoot them a DM. Invite your friends to come join us here. We'd love to have more people learn. I know we all need this. I know I'm learning a lot. I'm writing notes like crazy over here. So Mark Pattison, San Diego, bro, thank you so much for dropping some value with us today.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, we're still on track. This is crazy right now. We have 17 speakers today. If you're just tuning in, welcome to the Be Different virtual hot seat mastermind. The format of the show today is we're bringing you some of the most amazing agents and speakers from around the world. We've got people coming from as far away as Australia to deliver value today. They're going to give us a talk for 20 minutes. At the end of that 20 minutes, you guys are going to have 10 minutes to grill them with questions. So you will post them in the comments section and we will hit as many of those questions as we can within that 10 minutes. Make them uncomfortable. Ask them the hard questions. Get into the nitty-gritty details. This event is all about you getting that opportunity to actually connect with these speakers. So that's the deal. I'm really excited to bring this next guy on. This is somebody who's probably the best golfer I know. I've never seen somebody drive the ball as far as this guy. But he is also an amazing driver of his team. And one of the things that he's done amazingly well with his team is to really drive business via Zillow leads. He's on the Zillow advisory board. And it's just an all-around badass. He's come in and stepped into a business that his dad has been running for a long time and has taken the team from here to here in an extremely short period of time. And a big part of that is their ability to convert Zillow leads. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Parker Pemberton out of Minnesota. Parker, I need some golf lessons after this too, man.
Well, you need some Peloton lessons too.
Let's roll.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. I really appreciate it. This is a serious lineup of speakers you have here, so I'm thrilled to be here. Share what I know and dive deeper into how I've 10x'd my Zillow spend for multiple years. And what you can be doing right now to increase your ROI on all of your sources. So to me, personality wise, I'm a big softie, but when it comes to running my business, I'm extremely serious. And I believe that everything should be measured and tracked. And so I can't wait to dive into the details and tell you a little bit more. But my background, so like you said, I stepped into a business. Prior to real estate, I was running a lawn care and landscaping company. And I did that for 3 years, ended up shifting it, selling it. And I had an opportunity. It just came out of the blue because my dad got cancer. And you just alluded to him running his business for 40 years. And all of a sudden you see, the world kind of stop. And I saw an opportunity. I said, look, it's now or never. I didn't have any money, but I wasn't thinking about that at the time. I just dove in and the rest is history. So, I'd like to start just to say that the real estate industry is very similar to lawn care. And that sounds freaking crazy to say, but you need to acquire the client. You need to service the client. You need to gain their business and their trust. And then you need to have a relationship with that person down the line. And it's exactly the same in real estate, except there's a shitload more money and the stakes are a lot higher. So, that's really the bottom line is I've taken a lot of the principles that, how do I share this screen, Kyle? There we go. I've by the way, I took inspiration from you. I went Whissel orange just to say thanks for having me on the show.
Love it.
But so I stepped into a business that my dad was a solo agent with a buyer's agent and an assistant. My dad's extremely, he's one of the best real estate agents I've ever known. And I think my situation has helped greatly because of him. I was able to run fast, really freaking fast. And if I made mistakes, I had somebody there to help, which, is everything. And I would tell you, if you're new in real estate, you should be looking for a mentor from day one. And if that's not your team leader, you need to go and find somebody that is, because this business is complicated. There's a lot at stake, and we have awesome opportunities that with some of that knowledge, we can take advantage of. So I want to talk about how we 10x our Zillow spend. I want to make it very clear that I'm not telling you to go and buy Zillow zip codes right now. I'm also not saying Zillow should be your only source. We have tons of sources in our business. This was just one that I particularly dove deep in when I started in real estate. And And the rest was history. Basically, I walked into the office the first day, and there was a stack of 300 Zillow leads that my dad had been purchasing for years, and had never called, texted, emailed. And that was the first thing I did as I got to work, calling those leads and servicing them. I mean, literally from day one, out of those 300 leads, I sold 6 homes and closed them in the first 60 days. And so for me, it was like, damn, that works. Like, I need leads to obviously make income, and I have them here. And what I did was, after those closings, I saved my money, reinvested in Zillow and other sources, and just kept building and building and building until we've hit today, which we sold 250 homes last year in the Twin Cities area of Minneapolis. We certainly have bigger hopes, and we're crushing forward. And like all of these people have said, we're working through the coronavirus, but we see a lot of opportunity on the other side. So can you still see it here, Kyle? Screen share? Yeah, I'm hoping so.
Yep, you're good, dude.
Cool. Okay. So to me, it was extremely clear that investing in something in my business to create results was the right way to go from day one. I've always been a believer that you need to invest in yourself, and it's the best investment you can make. I knew the statistic coming in that 80% or 90% of realtors fail in their first year. And it's because they don't have leads. They don't have people that need to buy and sell. And that's a serious problem. So I knew that from day one. I knew that the name of the game was finding people that need to buy and sell houses, which essentially comes down to lead generation. Another reason that lead generation is great for our business is it produces a predictable stream of income. And for me, I got licensed in 2016. It literally catapulted my business to where it is today, which is, if I stood still and just ditched lead generation, I would sell 40 homes from my sphere. So that's extremely tough to do in 3 or 4 years of real estate without having something to help build that. And I want to establish here that we're not neglecting our spheres whatsoever. This is just one spoke of our businesses. So keep that in mind. For people that are thinking about getting in, what I'm going to tell you is, if you're not dead ass serious about your business, don't do it. If you're looking for low hanging fruit, this isn't the place. If you're not willing to do the work, if you're not willing to show the houses, to meet the people and put in the time, it's just not going to work, bottom line. And if you're a team leader and you think that the value you're providing your agents is the gift of leads, you're wrong. That's just not the way it is either. And I see so many team leaders doing that, just throwing some leads on a plate and thinking you're doing something for somebody. And it's not a recruiting tool. If people come to your team for leads, they typically will leave for leads. From what I've seen, if they come for money or splits, they'll typically leave for splits or money, same thing. And if you think the trendy thing is jumping into a zip code because you saw somebody on Lab Code Agents talk about it, don't do it. It's not trendy. You got to treat this like a real business. Before I said we have many sources, but today I'm going to talk about Zillow and what I've done with Zillow. But you heard Howard talk, owns YLOPO, which is a service that we use. They produce Facebook and pay-per-click leads. There's Realtor.com, which owns UpCity. You've got, HomeLight, Fast Expert. There's so many different spokes. I kind of look at it like you need to have 12 sources of lead generation. And, don't forget open houses and expireds and all the traditional methods too. But I chose Zillow. The reason I chose Zillow was it created a predictable source of income very fast. And I'll show you. In 2016, I hope that you guys can see this spreadsheet. I spent $23,100 on my Zillow investment, and I made $209,000, almost $209,500, which is an absolutely ridiculous return. The money would come in, and I would just keep reinvesting it into things that were going to build our business. And I think looking back, that was huge to grow our business and scale it like we have. In 2017, like I said, I doubled down. I spent $46,239, and I made almost $350,000. Those gross ROIs are at 13% and 11%, and that's pre-broker split, as you can see here and here. And in 2017, I noticed this number in particular, which led to a couple changes in our business. But I track this very closely. You have to, down to the lead, down to the call. You have to know exactly what you're spending. Otherwise, you're not going to know if it's working or not. And it's very important to point out that I had a lender contribution helping me the entire way too. So from day one, I knew that that was legal. And until it wasn't legal, I wasn't going to make any changes because I knew it lowered my cost per lead and it raised my ROI. So as a solo agent, there's absolutely no reason you can't jump in right now and go do the same thing. Honestly, I know Mark, who was just on before me, has absolutely crushed these systems. Pretty much everybody on this webinar in one way or another has 10x something. And it's because they've become very, very good at a couple things. So my rule is the same as Warren Buffett's, which is, two rules. Number one is never lose money. And number two is always follow rule number one. So if you're losing money on something, you have to ditch it right away. If it's not working, do something different, right? In Zillow, unlike pay-per-click or Facebook, I recommend that you get the number one spot in the zip code. And you may have to start on the outskirts of the town and work your way in because of cost. But quarter over quarter, I see the results from number one spots and zip codes are far superior than number two or number three spots. The big thing is you have to ensure that you have a 100% answer rate. This is huge. And back in the day, it used to be speed to lead. Now it's 100% answer. Zillow is now routing calls directly to your phone. And if you're not in a position to answer, you're not going to get that lead, and it's going to go to somebody else below you and below that person and below that person. So before you jump into this, you have to be able to answer the phone 100% of the time, and you have to have systems in place to help you do that. One of the things that we do is we have agent on duty. So from 9 until 9 p.m., we have one agent on our team that is in a position to answer the phone. They're not out golfing. They're not at the gas station. They're not doing whatever. They're in front of a computer with a phone in their hand, ready to take that lead. So number one, we have a 100% answer rate. And then we train our agents and work with them through our conversations. And you'll see me get to this in a second, but we don't script. Like, I think LP Mama is dead, to be honest. I'm more in favor of having conversations rather than scripts, right? Scripts and leads, conversations lead to relationships, and that's really what we're going for. And I think that really comes out in the calls from our agents. We listen to them and we hear them, and consumers are smart. Like, they don't want to be sold, right? Like, if you walk on the car lot and somebody comes up to you with sales breath, the first thing you're going to do is either walk away or just say you're not interested. So the whole key is trying to get to the bottom of what drove this person to this website today, and how can we form a relationship that leads to eventually helping them buy or sell real estate or referring us to somebody else. And mindset is huge. If you're going to jump into this world, you have to have an abundant mindset. You can't go into it expecting or wanting mediocre results. All of the top producers have an abundance mindset that they want to go, scale. And I think that's huge when it comes to online leads, but also your mindset with the conversations of the client. Again, you're not selling them, you're servicing them, you're listening, you're doing what it takes to get inside that person's wall so that you can help them transact real estate. One of the things I always say is that you have to show so much value that they have no choice but to work with you. Like, if you think about it, if that person on that car lot were to send you deals for cars daily, keep you updated in the market, help you with your financing options, go above and beyond, and you truly thought that they cared about you, you'd want to buy a car from them. So when somebody calls in on Zillow, you don't just run them through the script line just to get them off the phone. You have to really, really dive in and provide that value long-term. I'm talking 6 months, a year, 2 years in, because your returns will hockey stick the more and more leads that you have come into the system. You have to be extremely proactive and not reactive, right? We're not setting buyers up on MLS searches and waiting for them to come to us to tell us they want to see a house. Every single day, we're going in to find our active clients and our prospects, and we're providing them value. We're sending them things of value, things that we have access to that the public doesn't, right? Because let's be honest, the internet, it has all of the information, but they can't do what we can do. And don't be like other agents. Like, that's a big thing. You have to go above and beyond, and you have to control your own thoughts and your own business. I always go back to the chat boards because somebody will tell you that Zillow's the enemy or Facebook sucks or whatever it might be. And it'll drive that person away from potentially working with that company or having results like I've had, When in reality, business is black and white. The numbers are what matter. And if you're serious about your business and growing your business, the source should not matter whatsoever, as long as it's producing an ROI. And Mark, just before me, said he dropped his Zillow budget into Realtor, and I applaud him for that, right? He recognized that something wasn't working for his team and his budget, so he shifted into something that was. And that's huge. So what's going to happen is, if you dive into this world of lead generation, you get really good at sales, you're going to get really, really busy. And I choose to work smarter rather than harder. And today, with all of this great technology, and I'm thankful that Howard went before me because we utilize Ylopo and all their tools. There's so much technology at our fingertips to leverage our work and to help us with those follow-up efforts. I mentioned you have to have 100% response rate, right? But what if you're out showing homes and the phone rings? What are you going to do? You have to have something in place, either a human or a technology, to take that for you and give you the opportunity to service it down the line. There's so many options out there. I use call action. I've used Agent Legend in the past. I really rely on Rhea from Ylopo. It's incredible. And use your time wisely, right? Don't just go out bouncing from house to house. Like, I highly, I should say, there's a lot of agents out there that'll just take a call and just go and show a house, and then that's the last time they ever talk to that person, right? You really need to use your time wisely to get to know that person. And so what we're instructing our agents to do, and what I do, is you go meet the person, but you're really diving in to try to find out what they're looking to do. Really trying to form that relationship so that you can get back in the door again and again and again. What I've learned through building this team is it's incredibly hard to scale a real estate company. And the first time you do it, you'll probably screw up a lot. And so, if I were to go back and do this over again, number one, you have to have a solid source of leads. You have to be able to convert them, service them, and sell them, right? But a lot of people I see, team leaders, go and just hire a bunch of agents without the systems in place. And if you do that, you're going to jeopardize the business in a lot of different areas. So if I were to go back to do it over again, I would operate as myself. I would be crushing at 10%, 11%, whatever it is. And I'd first hire a transaction coordinator to leverage that paperwork and some of their smaller stuff for me. The next thing I would do is hire an ISA out of the gate. We have an ISA with our company, and it's an extremely valuable position to have somebody else manning those leads for you and helping you follow up. Just increases your chances of converting them and producing a higher ROI. The next thing I would do is hire a showing assistant. And if you're selling 40 to 50 deals a year, you know what I'm talking about. You're running all around. People want to see a house at 2. They have a doctor's appointment at 4. You have to be flexible. And so for us having a team, I'm able to call on my team and ask somebody to show a house for me or help me in that area. But if I was going to start over as a solo agent, I would definitely have a showing assistant. And, if you're sitting in your office and maybe you're at a Coldwell Banker office, there's going to be a handful of people who are younger or inexperienced who'd love to help you out with that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind. The next thing I would do is hire a communication manager. And, it's basically an assistant, because the emails, the calls, the texts, everything, it just drains you throughout the day. That's the big thing, is if you're reacting to your email and your text and your calls all the time, you're wasting so much more time down the line. And if you're going to 10X this thing, seriously, if you're going to sell 40, 50, 60 homes from a lead source, you're going to have to be really smart with your time. So I wanted to give back a little bit and tell you or show you a couple of systems that we're using in our business right now. I'm not sure how I'm doing on time, but I'm just going to keep powering through this. You're going to have to work smarter. But first, you have to become a great real estate agent, right? You have to have the leads. You have to have the sales. You have to earn the experience. Next, you need to work harder, which means you're probably going to start growing your business. And these systems can really help alleviate a lot of the problems that we experience early on in building teams. So the first one is a transaction coordinator. And if you can see this, this is a transaction coordination link. This is just a simple Google form that we use. When our agents sell a house, they come in here and they fill this form out. And basically what it says is agent, type of file, name of clients, phone numbers, emails, subject property, inspection info, source, all of this, right? When you go and sell a house on our team, you fill out this form and you send it in. What this does is it zaps it out to multiple different applications for me So I don't have to go and chase things down. And it also allows the transaction coordinator to have all the information in one spot for her to do her job a lot faster and more efficient too. And what I mean by that is tracking software, right? You need to keep your numbers somewhere, right? If an agent comes in here and makes a sale and fills out this form, it's going to go into a spreadsheet and itemize it for me. So I don't now have to see the sale, go to a spreadsheet and add it in, right? I don't have to track the lead source. I don't have to call agents and track them down. Now we can just simply add it to the list. We know that it's a HomeLight lead or it's a Zillow offer lead. It might be a Sphere lead. All of that information gets plugged in automatically into a spreadsheet in which we can factor or track all of that information. If anyone's interested in this sheet or how I set it up, I'd be glad to give it away. It's a huge help. So next, you have all these leads, you're selling all these houses. How do you find time to manage your database, and what are you doing to prospect? Because if you stop prospecting, you're going to stop selling houses. And one of the biggest things that I do and I teach our team is that we have smart lists set up in our CRM. So all you have to do is sit down at your computer and start working your CRM, right? Smart lists, we use Follow Up Boss, and these are filtered categories that leads will populate in daily, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to do. So if you have 400 leads and you're actively working them and you have them on a 90-day hit list, follow-up schedule, you can come in, sit down, and work that list right away, rather than having to go to the lead, look it up, figure out what they need, all of the other things that come with it. So if you're not leveraging a CRM that has this kind of technology, you really need to. It's going to save you a ton of time down the road. And if you need help setting these up, Howard has posted several really, really good webinars on setting up your smart list, and I basically have just copied them. Works great though. Next is connecting apps to save your time. Basically what I'm talking about, we use Zapier to connect a lot of these things to save us time. When a lead comes into Follow Up Boss, they're automatically tagged in the remarketing campaigns. So we have 15,000 leads. Every single one of those people is getting remarketed to through YLOPO. And it's huge, because otherwise I'd have to manually log in and add the tag, follow that lead. Now, if they come back to our website and start doing something, it texts us and emails us so we can get right on that lead right away. So we're taking our lead follow-up to the next level. You guys just saw my submission form. This is easy to set up. It basically, the agents come in, fill out the form. The next thing that happens is it gets sent to all of the support staff on our team to let them know that a sale's been made, including myself. And so I'll be out on the road and I'll see an email that a home was just sold. It's freaking awesome, because then I can celebrate in Slack and help the team. And I love seeing that. It's one of my favorite things. But without a system like this, I'd have to get back to the office, talk to one of the support staff, and they'd have to notify me. This just happens automatically. And then when it goes in Gmail, it goes straight into the spreadsheet. The last thing that I want to set up here is that all of our seller leads come in and get set up with a seller alert. They get added to HomeBot, and they get a monthly CMA from HomeBot. The clients can go in there and they can change their house, they can change their mortgage info, whatever they want to do to keep it updated. And every time they do that, it comes back and tells us what they're doing. My post-closing system is pretty sweet too. You know, the big thing is what are you going to do 30, 90, 100 days out? All of this is automated. So take a look at your business. I think I'm getting tight on time. Take a look at your business, figure out what you can automate to save your time and sell more houses. And you'll be selling more and more and more, and your ROI is going to go up, up, up. The last thing I want to mention is you need to be visible online now more than ever. I've been licensed since 2016, and this is what people see when they go into Zillow. They see somebody who's got 377 reviews as a team, a shitload of sales, best of Zillow. They see my reviews. This is something I've worked on for 4 straight years to build this up, and it's producing at least 12 organic seller leads a year, and they're basically come list space. So if you want to know how I've done that, I'm happy to help. Just send me a message, and I can help you attack the online profiles. And here's my info if anyone has any questions.
I love it, bro. Good stuff. I'm going to leave that slide up there for a minute just so people can grab your contact information. And we are going to start diving into the questions. So again, if you are watching this, you have questions for Parker, put them in the comments now. We're going to start hitting the questions. We got 6 minutes. We're going to rip through as many of these as we possibly can. So
20 minutes flies, man.
I know it does, but it keeps the energy up, which is good because when you talk for an hour, it starts to fade. So we're keeping everybody's energy up, keeping them on their toes. First question, what accountability systems do you have in place and how many strikes till you're out?
We run a quartile system for our team. We have different factors that go into that. Part of it is tracking in CSU. We have to be able to know who's going on appointments and who's doing what. And the quartile system grades them from senior salesperson to salesperson. And the people that rank the highest get the most opportunity. They get first pick at lead shifts and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Do you have any sort of like a strike system until somebody's off of leads or even off of your team?
No, we just kindly say you're off leads and we need to coach you up or work with you. And if it happens multiple times, then we have to have that conversation. But all my agents watching right now, they know our system. It's not strict. I don't want somebody to come in and feel like it's a military run system. But it's kind of like honor code.
I love
You
it.
say, hey, I love you, but if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're not going to get the leads.
Simple. What is a communication manager and what's the difference between that and an ISA?
Yeah. So when you get to the level where you're running at 50 plus sales individually, you're going to need somebody to manage you, basically, your communication. Like while we've been on this call, we've gotten hundreds of emails. My phone's been blowing up. To be able to get to that stuff on time is extremely important, but even more so to keep me sane at the end of the day, to not have to come home and answer emails all night, all day, et cetera. If you have the means to do it, this is a great way to provide your clients a higher level of service and also take a lot off your plate.
All right. Next question. Would like to know more about asking for reviews. Best way to do it, what platforms, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so in my lawn care days, we had something called Angie's List, which most people are familiar with. And it was very much like Zillow. You had to get reviews, you'd build your profile up and more people would be able to see you. So this came extremely natural to me and I knew I had to do it from day one. I'm sending emails out with the links, Google, Facebook, Zillow, and then I'm calling them to make sure that they got the email and that they're going to leave me the review. And if you ask them, like if you provide them a high level service and you call them and you say, hey, can I get your help for literally 30 seconds? I need you to leave a review on my Zillow page. Do you mind? Like you'd have to be a complete asshole to say no.
Love it. What is Sisu? I think you mentioned that one of the previous speakers mentioned Sisu as well.
Sisu is our tracking software. And if you're newer, I'd recommend just use a spreadsheet. Use a Google spreadsheet so that you can take it everywhere you go. If you're growing your business, there's a program called CTE. And then if you're exploding your business and you have team members you want to hold accountable, there's Sisu. It's about $200 a month. And I think it's the best tracking software out there.
Yeah, it's something that we use in our business too. Like if you want to track and measure what your agents are doing, there's no better system out there than Sisu. The guys over there are insane. And the thing that I love with their system is it's plug and play, but it's for, people that aren't super techie, but for people like you that are very techie, it's so customizable. You can literally run contests for a variety of different things in there. You can track whatever you want to track. You can project financials. You can track return on investment, all of that stuff. So, share a little bit about that, right? In particular, like why is it so important to track stuff?
Because it predicts your business. You know where you're going to be 30, 60, 90 days from now. And I'm kind of a weird personality. Like I'm a high D and also a pretty high C. Like I like tracking. I like spreadsheets. And it's kind of a weird, I think every successful team leader is this way, because if you're not, you're going to drop the ball on your investments. And I'll tell you a quick story. I went out to a Zillow conference in 2017 or 18. It was in Dana Point. I was having lunch with like 12 people. And one of the ladies there was bragging that she made $500,000 from Zillow. And like, man, that's great. Congratulations. Tell me more about, what you're spending, what the zip codes are. Turns out she was actually losing $200,000 a year. She had absolutely no idea. So that's why you track, and that's why you measure your business. You have to. There's no other way.
All right. Last one we're going to finish up with. How big is your team?
We have 18 agents, including myself and Steve, my dad, and then we have 5 admin staff. ISA, ops manager, sales manager, transaction coordinator, and marketing assistant.
And let's say you're building a team from scratch today, knowing what you know now. If you were to just completely scrap everything, move to a new city and build a team, how would you start?
I mean, I would do it, number one, by finding all of the lead sources that I possibly could. Open houses are free, right? You don't have to pay to acquire things, but I would create as many leads as I could. I would sell as many houses as I possibly could. And then I would leverage myself by hiring out the things that are the lowest dollar amount activities on my plate. And so that starts with paperwork, and then it goes up from there.
All right, beautiful, man. So Parker Pemberton out of Minnesota, I appreciate you being on, dude. You look at things differently than most, and you're the kind of person I think we all want in our business, somebody who can really analyze the numbers and look at this stuff. Because like that girl you mentioned, who I made 500,000. No, dumbass, you lost 200,000. Like, there are a lot of people on this Facebook Live right now that are in that same boat, that are actually losing money, and they don't even know it because they don't have a system like a Sisu to track it. And they've got a super leaky boat, right? And they're pushing offshore with this leaky boat, and they haven't actually sealed up all the holes and sealed up these leaks before they pushed offshore, and they're just bailing water trying to survive. So if you take nothing else from this, just make sure you understand your numbers, know how much you're spending it, where you're spending it, what's happening with the leads that you're spending the money on. Like, know that stuff. Make your decisions based off of data. Don't just guess. Really, really track and measure your numbers. It'll make a huge difference in your business. Parker, thank you so much for joining us, bro.
Hey, one more thing, Kyle. Is that okay? 30 seconds. I want to make it clear. I know I'm going to get questions on this. To this day, we're not converting at 10+%, right? As you scale your team, you are going to be giving back some of that ROI in exchange for your time, right? So when you're growing, you need to measure that stuff. So when you get to a point where it doesn't make sense, you can either abandon it or you can shift. And I didn't go too far into the numbers of 2016 and 17, but if anyone has questions or wants to see that further, happy to screen share and go through that. So it makes sense. Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you, man.
All right.
So if you are watching this, we're going to move into our last speaker of our morning session. We have 3 separate sessions today, so we've broken this Facebook Live into 3 pieces for you guys. I'm going to finish out with one guest that I could not be more excited to bring on with me. But as soon as I'm done here, we're moving over. Mary Maloney is going to take over, and she's going to be running for 3 hours. So there should be a pinned post in the comments with the links for her session that's going to go from noon to 3 Pacific time. And then she finishes at 3. Dan Beer takes over and is going to run it from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So in the comments section, you should be able to see at the top the links to those other 2. So as soon as we finish up here, we're immediately shifting it over. Mary Maloney's going to take control of things. So with that said, this next guy, I mean, he's my closer on my session today. He is for a reason. This guy is a freaking legend in the real estate space because he's built something that I don't know if anybody's ever even built before. He had this crazy idea when everybody else was closing down space to build one of the most amazing offices ever, and started his own independent brokerage and built that to over 900 agents doing well over $1 billion. I don't know if you hit 2 billion or somewhere around there, but it's doing massive, massive things out in Arizona. So without further ado, love to bring on one of my business partners, Chuck Fazio. Welcome to the Be Different Mastermind, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate you guys having me, and I'm just going to jump right into this because I'm excited to get going. You know, I'm sure people are out there. Have you ever noticed how the same people are always have this level of success, and it's this level of success in everything in their life. It's not just business, and it's also through adversity. You look at people and you go, how do they push through adversity? Well, here's one thing I want to tell everybody. There's always adversity. There's always something going on that's a disruptor. And there's always these certain people that always seem to come out the other end looking great. And the people are, why? Well, there is a common denominator that I'm going to get to in a few minutes. But before I get to that, I'm going to give you a little bit of a taste of my background because I was not always a business guy. I grew up in New York. I ran strip clubs for the mob. I was a drug addict. I was a drug dealer. And I was a product of my environment, but I had no idea what that meant. I lived that seedy lifestyle. And, you know, I'm not going to get into the whole God thing, but it was God who brought me out. But I'm going to fast forward, moved out to Arizona in 98, went to get my real estate license. I knew nothing about business. So I had to learn. I had to learn on my own, met my wife out here. We learned together. We were broke. We were broke and just hammered through. But there was one thing I heard somebody say. They said that you're the product of the 5 people you're around the most. And although it sounds kind of crazy, and what does that really mean? It took a little bit, and I said, all right, I'll look and see who I'm around, and was growing a little bit. And we started to get some traction. 2005, we opened up our brokerage and started to build that. Fast forward about 4 years ago. 4 years ago, we were selling about hovering around 500, 600 million in production. And it was kind of at a standstill. And my wife said to me, hey, why don't we go to this Dave Ramsey Entree Leadership? Let's get around some leaders. And maybe I'm one of those people you could say I'm uncoachable, but I don't trust nobody. I guess it was my background. But I said, sure, let's go. We jumped in, we went, being around Dave Ramsey, being around leaders like Alan Maloney, who's the CEO for Ford Motor Company, Gary Kelly, CEO for Southwest Airlines, Dan Cathy, owner of Chick-fil-A. You're talking about icons. These are big producing people. And I'm sitting there going, there's something different being around these guys. And then we had the opportunity, we were at Dave Ramsey's house, and we were sitting in the backyard with Dave and a bunch of high-level executives. And there was something that really stood out to me. Dave said, raise your standards. Wow, raise my standards. That's the people I got to surround myself with. These people, big thinkers, big players, big hitters. Positive mindset. So we took that home with us, and we just kept drilling in our head, raise our standard. So we started to raise our standard by who do we surround ourselves with? The people we associate with, our business partners, our staff, they're like our family to us. And we started to raise our standards and started to change our mindset. And within a few years, we broke through this barrier of doing 500 to 600 million a year to doing 2 billion in production. 2 billion. It's because who we surrounded ourselves with. We surrounded ourselves with like-minded thinkers, big thinkers. It makes all the difference in the world, your core values and the people that are aligned with you, that truly care. So out there, I'm sitting here going, okay, what kind of, I guess, methodology is this? Is this something that works for everyone? Why does this work so well? And then I was digging in deeper, and believe it or not, there's scientific evidence that support this type of thinking on who you surround yourself with, the people you want to align yourself with. And one of the things that stood out was something called dopamine. Now dopamine is a hormone that is known as the feel-good hormone. Makes you feel good. They associate it with pleasure. So I'm like, well, how does dopamine fit into this equation? So they did some research and recently found out that dopamine normally associates itself with pleasure, but they said it has a much wider effect and a greater effect on people, because they were doing studies and they were actually saying there was levels of dopamine that were giving off before the pleasure was attained. So now understand this, guys. Dopamine now is a direct correlation with motivation. And they did studies on this. They did studies on lab rats. And here's some of the things they came up with. So they had a big pile of food for these rats, and they put a little fence in front of it. And what they come up with is the lab rats that had low levels of dopamine wouldn't even climb the fence to go get that food. Now, they seen the food was there, but because they didn't have this hormone dopamine in them, they didn't go after it. So now I'm starting to think there's a direct correlation here, because we could look at certain people and go, why don't they have success? Why aren't they going after it? levels of dopamine. It's that hormone that's inside your body. So you have to go, how do you get this dopamine? So it's definitely associated with the people you hang around because they give off that dopamine. So I'll give you an example here. You ever go to like big motivational speakers like, let's just say Tony Robbins or Grant Cardone, John Maxwell? You go to these events and here's what happens. You get this shot of dopamine and you're all pumped up. And now you come home from these events and you're like, oh my gosh, we're going to kill it. We're going to implement this. We're going to do that. Nobody leaves there not jacked up because they're all jacked up on this hormone dopamine. It's like a drug. But then what happens? What happens after a few days, a week, month, sometimes not even a month? These people are already folding it in after a couple of weeks. You see, the dopamine leaves your body. And all of a sudden, although you know there's success on the other end, that success you felt at these events kind of goes away because that hormone is gone. So there's a direct correlation between what are you doing in between? Who are you associating with? Who are you hanging around with? Could you imagine that the 5 people you hung around with every day, let's just say Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, maybe Gary Vee, Dave Ramsey, and John Maxwell, let's say they were your buddies. Do you think that level of dopamine would go away? No, you would keep getting injected that dopamine. That's what will drive you. There's a direct scientific correlation between dopamine and success and motivation and what's going to break you through the barriers, what's going to get you through the hard times. It is that imperative to know who you hang around with. Dopamine. Now let's go the opposite way. The negative people, the gossipers, the victim mentality, entitled, the bullshitters. Yeah, the people who talk a good game, the ones who tell you how great they are and don't do nothing. Those type of people. Are those the ones you associate with? Are those the ones you surround yourself with? Because now scientifically, there's something on that side of it. It's called cortisol. Now, here's how cortisol works. Cortisol is a chemical that's in your body that reacts. It's your fight or flight. It's the stress hormone is what they call it. And it's released when you're under stress, when you have negative in your life. So cortisol is important to your health. It does help you out, but too much of it wreaks havoc on your body. It affects you mentally. It affects your motivation, your stamina, your drive. You know, here, I'm going to give you something that in nature. So if you ever watch these animal channels, they have a herd of gazelles, very skittish animals. So you got the herd of gazelles and they're grazing in the field. And then all of a sudden, one of them hears a ruffling. And it just pops its head up and it gets all nervous. Didn't see anything. Just the wind maybe blew some grass. That's cortisol running through that body of that animal. It's a surge, it's a rush. But what does it do to the rest of the gazelles? The ones who are surrounded by that one? Well, there's the opposite. Here's how it affects who you're around. So in that same scenario of those gazelles grazing, that takes place. And all of a sudden, Bob, the gazelle, pops his head up there, and all the other gazelles all pop their head up. And the rush of cortisol goes through their bodies. They didn't see nothing. They're just reacting to the other gazelle, the negative one, the nervous one, the one who's feeding you negative stuff. Now that cortisol is rushing through all of their bodies. Like I said, it's your fight or flight if there's real danger. but most of the times it's not real dangers. So why is it important to weed out the negative people in your life? Because of cortisol. You see, you don't have to be directly associated with these people. Just be around them. You'll feed off of them. You'll sense them. You'll sense their complaining, their negativity. We're seeing a lot of that right now. A lot of people are nervous out there. Like I said, there's always adversity, always. Depends what the adversity is. So, what's that? So anyway, that was my wife just walking in here. So anyway, so the cortisol is running through your body and it affects you. So these negative people that are in your life, believe it or not, guys, have an effect on you. You may think it's no big deal. You may think it's not affecting you, but the people that are around, who surround you, affect you. They're either giving you injections of dopamine or cortisol. And here's the crazy part. If you're around negative people, cortisol will constantly drip into your system. Constantly. It doesn't stop. Drip, drip, drip. And then what it does is it affects you. You know, we turn around and we say to some people that we'll refer to those type of people as cancer in your business. Here's the crazy part. Cortisol is linked to stress, to cancer in your body. There's a reason why they say that. Guys, it's so important to understand who you surround yourself with, the people that are in your life. You have to get the shit out of your life. You got to get the negative mindset, the narrow mindset, the people who complain. It does affect you. Believe me. It's why I tell you about my past life. I was a product of my environment. You may be a product of in your environment on a smaller scale, but if you're not reaching the level of success that you want, that's where you start. Changing up your life, changing up the people that you're surrounding yourself. You ever watch a TV show like Jerry Springer? So here's Jerry Springer. He brings on people that you can honestly say, where the hell does he find these people? But I go one better. Where does he find the people that watch this show every day? You see, don't think that doesn't affect you. See, the people that watch these types of shows and these type of the reality TV shows that are negative, you think it doesn't affect you. It affects you. It really does. It warps your mind over time. My mind was warped for many years in what I used to live. It affects you. And you know why it affects you is because what happens is you start to look at those people and you go, my life's better than theirs. Guys, that's an illusion. That's an illusion. What you're doing is you're comparing your life that you may be miserable with people's lives who are worse. That doesn't mean it's going to raise you up or lift you up. You see, I protect my life. I protect my mind. I protect my core values. I protect my inner circle. And it affects every part of my life, not only my business, my health, my relationships. That's right, it's everything in your life, guys. Your life is not just business, it's everything. If you're not working on everything in your life, you're missing out. Here, I'll give you, for example, I got a beautiful wife. That's my best friend, my business partner. I protect that with everything. Do you think I want to hang around couples that have miserable marriages, that sit there and gossip and talk about their spouse behind their back? That maybe I'm hanging out with a bunch of married guys that'll talk about other women? Look, that's me. I protect that. I don't surround myself with that shit. I don't. Don't think it doesn't affect you. It affects you. And it'll affect your personal life, which then affects your business, which affects your health. It's a steamroll to this, guys. Your core values and who you surround yourself with matters. It really does. I proved it over and over and over. It's that important. So here's some of the things that I do want to go over with is I believe in scripture. Now, whether you believe the Bible or not, that's okay. And here's my challenge to you. Whether you want to believe the Bible is God's word is fine. But when you read this, it makes a lot of sense. So if you read it without the thought process that it's God's words, I challenge you to read it. That book is probably one of the best books you'll read in helping your business and helping your life. Listen to some of these. How about this one? Proverbs 12:26. The righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. Wow. Guys, word of God is the way I look at it. How about this one? 1 Corinthians. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Powerful stuff. Proverbs 13:20. Walk with the wise and become wise. Associate with the fools and become a fool. And then my favorite of all is what I base everything I do on is Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another. My goal in life is to sharpen people. My goal in life is to lift people up, to give people shots of dopamine. Guys, successful people do not have a scarcity mindset. They have an abundant mindset. It is imperative who you choose to surround yourself with. Stop looking at the scarcity mindset. If you're at a company or a brokerage or a team or whatever that's not feeding you and lifting you up and looking at what they're doing, and you feel like you're not where you're at, make a change. Make a change. It's not about the money. Guys, I hear too many people that chase the low fees. I'm going to tell you, successful people don't chase fees. They chase what they could make. It's not how much you save, it's how much you could earn. Surrounding yourself with successful, like-minded people will change your life. Trust me. Thanks, guys.
Chuck, straight fire, dude. The amount of comments that are pouring in right now is on another level. If you guys are watching this right now, if you have questions for Chuck, you've got 8 minutes to get your questions in. Throw them in the comments below. We're going to hit those questions. Chuck, man, the level of intensity that you bring, like my question to you is, how do you bring that level of intensity, dude?
It's the spirit, man. It's the spirit. Fills me.
I love it, guys. So get those questions in down below. There's a ton of awesome and props to you, dude. Everybody is loving the knowledge that you dropped. If you guys have questions, put them in the comments section. And I just want to make sure everybody knows this. We're breaking today into 3 separate feeds. This will be the last one in this feed. And then at 12 o'clock, Mary Maloney is going to take over and kick off in a new feed. So if you're looking in the comment section, the link should be there for you. So we'll start with an easy one. Where in Brooklyn are you from?
Queens. My dad's from Brooklyn.
All right, nice. Here's a good one for you, dude. Best way to battle your mind and the evil surrounding you.
Best way to battle is, my thing is plug into positive. Plug into the word. Stop listening to news. Stop surrounding yourself with garbage. You know who the garbage is.
What is your big why?
My big why. I got 3 big whys in life that never change. What keeps me going. My big why, first and foremost, is I glorify the Lord in everything I did. What he did to me is nothing short of miraculous. Number 2 is my wife's my best friend. I protect that with everything that I have. And then my family. And my family is my agents and my staff.
Beautiful. Would you recommend a book about the abundant mindset?
Yeah, the Bible.
I knew that was coming. Oh, I love it. All right, here's a good one for you. Where did that go? All right. What communities have you plugged into to find positive people?
Wow, that's a really good question. I'm just right now blessed that I'm around some great people through my company. And so I wouldn't say communities. I'm constantly scouring, listening to, if I'm on the internet, I look for the people that gravitate the positive, and the negative I just get rid of. I hope that answers.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Let's see, that's kind of along the same lines. You just got to see this one. Spent 15 grand to see Tony Robbins, got more value out of this, and it's free, dude. People are loving what you're putting down, dude. Let's see. What's your hardest negative thought to overcome?
Pride and ego.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah.
How do you overcome those?
On my knees. Every day. That's my common prayer is, Lord, rid me of my pride and ego. And it's an intentional thing that I have to work on. And I work on it, trust me.
Beautiful. What podcast do you personally listen to?
What podcasts? I like I think, what is it? Ed Mizek, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like him. He's great. EntreLeadership is a really good one also.
All right. This is an interesting question. Who are your top 5 friends?
Okay, my top 5 friends is obviously my wife, Kristen, Nicole, Catherine, and Debbie and Pat.
Who are all those people?
My wife's yelling at me.
You made sure to put her first. Smart man.
Well, you got to remember, though, those are my staff. My staff is my family, and I have to, their spouses. So I look at each one of them as one. Here she comes. My wife's coming. No, I thought she was.
How do you keep your dopamine levels so consistent?
That's a really good question. You keep them consistently high by understanding what you're plugging into all the time. So I have my motivational videos I'll watch. I'm always on YouTube. It's just like a fix. Some of them I watch over and over. So don't think just because you watched a good 10-minute clip that you've seen that one already. Keep watching them. Keep watching them. Right. Here she comes.
I am so proud of him.
I love it. All right. Is scripture the first thing you do in the morning, or really honestly, just tell us, what's your morning routine like?
My morning routine, every morning, I'll just sit and talk to the Lord. I'm not going to sit and say I'm on my knees praying all morning long or in the Word. I'm not a big reader, but I do have my one scripture verse will pop up. But I talk to God. I'm thanking Him every day and every night before I go to sleep. Yeah, one thing I can tell people, you want to strengthen your relationship with your spouse or significant other. Here's a couple of quick pointers. Number one, and I know I'm going to get pushback, but this is what I do. Number one is my wife and I never go to bed without each other. We've been with each other since 2001 and have never spent a day apart, ever. Number two is we pray over each other out loud every night. So when people say to me, hey, pray for me, you bet I'm praying. I don't use that lightly. So I do pray for people.
That is awesome. We got a couple more minutes and we're gonna wrap, dude. What supplements and food habits do you employ?
I just like to eat. I take my old man multivitamin every morning. I wish I could say I have good food habits. Yeah.
I know. I've been out to a Brazilian steakhouse.
I got to be real. Look, I'm not perfect.
All right. Are you a mentor?
Yeah, I am a mentor to some of my team members. Yes.
What about just in life?
What's that?
What about just in life?
Just in life?
Like you're in life. How do you mentor people?
Well, we do a thing that we started to back up, Midweek Mind Freak. You can see it behind me. That's good motivational stuff. Me and my wife share our life, good, bad, the ugly, what we think. We're just open books. And like I said, it's because I want to glorify God. So try to follow me any way you could. Reach out to me. I know people reach out to me, and I'm not going to say I'm always the best at returning stuff because I get inundated, but I really do try to return and respond to anyone I could.
Beautiful. All right, man. Well, we're going to wrap it with that one. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning into the morning session today. We're going to end this live here. We're going to kick off another live immediately after we end this. Mary Maloney is going to take over the hosting. She's got some insane speakers. She's got Tina Call kicking it off out of Raleigh, North Carolina. David DeVoe from New Jersey is coming on. Glenn Twiddle straight out of Australia is going to be tuning in. We got Kenny Fast from Northern California, Jason Ferris from Northern California. Like it's insane the lineup that she's got. So
Kyle, I want to thank you, buddy. I'm blessed that I got to know you and to be in business with you. I just want to let you know that.
I appreciate it, bro. So for those of you guys that tuned into my session, thank you so much. Mary's going to take it over. I'm going to end this one. We're going to kick the other one off. We'll talk to you guys soon.
God bless.